it would help if I didn't have it muted on the stream. Should we try that again? Should we say, all right, mate, again?
All right, mate.
All right, mate. How you doing?
I didn't realize you had a wine glass. I feel outclassed. I've got a can of Monster.
It's a fishbowl glass for gin and tonic, isn't it? It holds a lot. And I feel like it's going to be one of those episodes that I need my glass to hold a lot.
No, you should be chilling. You can coast through that whole glass throughout the whole show.
Yeah, of course.
No need for refills.
The thing I'm worried about is we've got this podcast, which is actually going to be fairly on point and timed tonight. That's why we've skipped the intro. We're not doing any of the fun games that we normally do at the start of episodes. We're like pure information. The quicker we can get it done, the better. Like preferably in 2.5 hours. That's the aim. Cover Mage and Warlock, but in depth, but in 2.5 hours. So it's going to be more. Yeah, this one's going to be probably less of last night's drunken madness and more of like focused on what we need to talk about.
I'll try to wrangle you back on topic when you try to veer off course.
Okay, that would be perfect. Do you wanna just go over just general housekeeping stuff go, and then we've got a tiny little bit of news that we'll just cover before we get the guest in. Give him time to finish eating his burger, which looks amazing, by the way.
The burger does too.
yeah, both.
Yeah, super chat. You want to have a question for us? Have a question for our guests about Mage or Warlock? Hit us with one of those, and we'll get to it. We'll answer every question that you have. That's all I've got.
Cool. Well, what about the news then? that was very quick housekeeping.
We're getting right into this, man. We got so much to talk about. The news was Classic Era PvP update, and it says December 5th, so I guess it's not live yet. It's going up next week.
Yep.
When we updated the PvP honor system in patch 1.14.4, our changes were focused on making it so that we no longer needed the old PvP honor system script, eliminating ranking points and removing deranking due to Decay. As we look to the future, we've carefully considered the role of Decay in today's honor system and how it interacts with increasingly competitive honor requirements in higher ranks. Whew. As a result, we've arrived at the decision to disable Honor Decay in Classic Era and Season of Discovery. This will become effective starting with scheduled weekly maintenance on December 5th in this region. I don't know what region that is. Does it say?
It'll just be all regions, won't it? Yeah, maintenance. As in, it'll be Tuesday for NA, Wednesday for EU.
Oh, yeah. When the weekly honor rollover occurs on December 5th, you will no longer decay due to having not met the minimum honor requirements for your rank. Please note that decay is not the same as the penalties incurred by earning dishonorable kills, which is now the only way a player can lose rank progress. So it just sounds like if you take a break and come back, you won't have that decay, and you can just pick right back up where you left off.
I think that's banging, to be honest with you, and I think that's actually a real big positive step for, obviously, Classic Era, but a real positive step for Season of Discovery. I would actually be, like I was saying to you before we went live, I would be tempted to try and push for Grand Marshal if I knew that, if I feel a bit burnt out and can't be bothered, doing anything for a week, that I can have that week off of not worrying about PvP. So, yeah, at least this way you can sort of slowly make your way to max rank, which that's pretty cool. I like it. Not really a lot else to say about that.
I'll be grinding up too. Hell yeah.
We'll be doing it together
soon.
So yeah, things have changed a little bit. So good old Big Go is actually he's joining the dark side and rolling EU main for Season of Discovery now, which is I'm looking forward to it.
I've reactivated my EU account last night. Yep, after the show, we had a little post-podcast boys' night out, and we were like, all right, let's make a decision. And the decision was EU.
Yep, Horde EU first. We're going to have Horde and Alliance, but yeah, it's going to be Horde primary focus to begin with. It's going to be me, Go, Table Slam, hopefully Super Trippy. Have I missed any of the other boys that come on the podcast from time to time? Griff, Jay. Yeah, Griff and Jay. Even maybe Kubaba. So Kubab, I know he's not been on the podcast, but he's still one of the NA boys that might maybe grace us with his presence on EU. That would be cool.
There was a little bit more news if you want to speculate on it, or if you know one way or another that I don't. But the realm names were leaked. Like the amount of realms is what I was more referring to. That there was 4 realms that showed up on the PTR for NA. So there was 1 PvE realm, 2 PvP, and 1 RP PvP. They were all named A realm, which good on Blizzard to not have the server names leaked. They knew that it was going to be data mined or whatever, or available to be seen and screenshotted. So, yeah, cool that they did that. But 4 servers, do you think that's what they're going with for live? Is that enough?
I think it's maybe too much. Actually,
just 1 PvP server, just 1 of each. You make your choice, and
I personally would have gone for 1 of each to begin with. But I mean, who knows? How popular is it going to be? I know what I always worry about when you have too many servers is, what is that going to look like 2 weeks down the line? It's gonna be a very, very different landscape when people get to 25. They're like, oh, do you know what? I like that, because I'm not disrespecting Season of Discovery. Obviously, I know it's going to be amazing for us, but there might be a lot of vanilla Andys that they'll get to 25 and they'll be like, man, this is shit. This ain't what I want to be playing. And then they'll just be back on Classic Era. And there could be a lot of people that do that, or go back to RAF, or go back to private servers or retail, like whatever. So there's always that sort of post couple of week launch steep drop off. Which that's the only thing that worries me. I mean, we'll see. If they've all got queues, then there's probably nothing to worry about. But again, what we don't want is them all having queues and then Blizzard are like, all right, we'll launch 1 more of each. Because, I don't know. We've seen it. We see it on RAF. I mean, how many actual... You look for a big server list on Classic, like as in RAF Classic, and there looks like there's a lot of servers, but how many of them are actually playable? There's a big chunk of them that have not even got people raiding on or doing anything active at all. The only thing they're good for is boosting a character to go and win the fishing tournament, so you get the heirloom ring. Like literally, that's what them servers are there for.
Yeah, I think they've talked about it before, and I don't remember which dev it was, but they were talking about how you were saying, like, if they launch too few and it's got a queue, and then they open up like another one, but then that one only has like 1,000 players that go into it, then it's like, well, now that server's pretty underpopulated. So yeah, I don't know, why don't they just join all the fucking servers, like cross queue? Like, there's no Battlegrounds, I guess, is going to be cross realm, but I don't know. Just name all the servers. Just leave it all A realm. Yeah. Don't actually name them at all, and just I mean, connected realms. You do start to lose your sort of server identity a little bit. That's the only downside. It's nice when you're running through Ironforge or Stormwind. And that sort of thing don't really bother me, but it's still nice to run through and recognize people. It's like, I was in a group with him yesterday. Oh, I was at, do you know what I mean? Rather than it just being thousands of players, and it just depends what layer you happen to be on to who you're actually going to see. So, and I think separate realms is the way to go. And maybe they've done it right. 2 PvP, 1 PvE, 1 RP PvP. Maybe it works out perfectly. As I say, my concern is always just going to be what it looks like a couple of weeks later, not what it looks like on launch. Yeah.
Because expect queues. There's going to be queues on every one of these realms.
Like if let's say the PvP realms ended up being A realm and B realm. If I could be on A realm and still party up with somebody on B realm by entering their name / server name, realm name, then that works for me. Like, just let me be able to group with somebody from a different realm. I might not see them out in the open world running around Ironforge or nothing, but if I could still party up with them, like that'd be cool.
But what? And then they phase onto your realm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could phase on, whoever has the higher thing, and I guess that people will find a way to abuse that. You go to the lower pop realm, make a tune, and then invite your tune over to that realm so you can farm something, do a world boss, because there's going to be 2 world bosses if there's 2 PvP realms. So yeah, people would be doing that shit. Like, yo, invite me to realm B.
Yeah, it's not an unpopular opinion, Fish. Like, it's not as unpopular as you'd think about wanting RDF. Trust me, you're not alone. Should we get the guest on? He looks like he's fed and watered now.
Yeah.
Do you want to do the intro? You're great at the intros.
I knew you were gonna ask me, but I've been doing all the intros. Do you want to do this one?
Yeah, sure. So, I've known this guy for a long time. I mean, there's probably not a warlock that plays classic that doesn't know who he is. Yeah, I mean, he pretty much, in all fairness, taught me how to stream, believe it or not, in one way or another, because when I first started streaming, when I realised, oh wait, you can make money on YouTube, that's weird. And then people are telling me to stream, and I went on Twitch. I didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. And literally the only person I knew on Twitch was this guest. So he's always going to be very close to my heart. So with that all said and done, let's get him in. What's going on, Crix?
What's up, my man? How you doing?
Yo.
Still slightly hungover from last night's episode, but I'm getting there.
Yeah, we've been knowing each other for a while, man. TBC private server days.
Yeah, I think Endless was probably the first one. But yeah, literally. Yeah, I mean, literally, you was the first Twitch streamer that I'd ever spoke to. Like, seriously, you know, people used to think I was trolling. Like, they'd come in chat and they'd be like, "Oh, have you seen what Asmongold said?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck's Asmongold? How am I meant to know? How am I meant to know who he is?" Like, and people would think I'm taking the piss. But I genuinely was so disengaged with everything to do with streaming and YouTube that the only person I knew was Bellula. You know, he was literally the only WoW YouTuber that I knew when I first started. So yeah, it's That's awesome to see where we are now. You know, it's very, very different.
Came a long ways.
Oh yeah, Crix recently leveled up IRL. Yeah, like what, a week ago?
Yeah, a couple on the 21st. Yeah, a week ago.
Happy birthday,
34.
bro.
Big thing.
Woo.
Big thing. Grants, mate.
Did you guys see the big Warlock change this morning?
No.
They changed Metamorphosis again.
Oh,
so
Lord.
Fear is now a spell called Menace, which taunts. So your fear is a taunt. So you can't fear in meta anymore.
Oh, okay.
I'll link it in the chat.
It's not in... where have you actually seen it in terms of... Because I assume
right
it's not been
on
updated on the talent calculator yet.
Yeah. So pretty much instead of Curse of Wreck being the fear, your taunt is now fear, and you cannot fear.
I think that kind of makes sense. That makes more sense than
I
Curse
think
of Wreck.
It's a PvP change. Yeah, it's a PvP change. Because you see how broken that would be in PvP if you can just fear people and instant cast and run away and you're tanky and all that.
Yeah. No, that's sensible. I didn't like the fact that it was Curse of Wreck because it seemed really counterproductive. You know, when you taunt something, they're now going to do more damage to you. It's like, hang on, that don't really make sense.
Yeah, it's a big one. That's a big PvP one. I don't think it matters for PvE that much though, because you might fear in PvE, but not that much, right?
Can I actually get that? Yeah, I can put it on the screen.
That's a big fucking tooltip, dude.
Yeah, it is.
It's a fucking book.
Yeah. I think it just happened a couple hours ago. They mentioned it.
Has there been any other changes? Where did you see it? Has there been any more data mining?
I've known they were going to do it for a little while, but they just now went live with it, I guess, like a couple hours ago. Got spam pinged in the Discord. Maybe on the PTR side of things. I don't know. Data mining, but...
Yeah, I just wondered if there was it, because it worries me when there's just one little thing, because it's like, is that all there is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they had to do. I mean, even as a warlock, they had to do that because PvP would have been. It's not fair in PvP. PvP, I sit in meta, immolate, corruption, agony, and they just spam searing pain, and I have 500%, and I can fear you whenever you get annoying. So it's like, what do you like? It sucks.
Yeah. I mean, we could look at the. I'll have a quick look on the database and see if there's been anything else in the latest build. When was the build? You obviously go. You can feel free to talk to the guest. I mean, You wanted him here. You was like, can we please get
How you
Crix?
doing,
Can we
Go?
please get Crix?
I'm looking too. You got me fucking scared. I'm like, yo, did they change Druid? Like,
I was so happy at BlizzCon when I didn't know Go was there, and we're at BlizzCon, and I'm meeting up with like Graves for days and Cardros and everybody at this Airbnb. And I walk in, I see him sitting on the thing at the table, and I was like, no way, I didn't even know you were coming.
yeah, dude, that was when Grays and was it only that got the tattoo? They got the
Yeah.
hardcore like
Yeah,
logo
Grays,
tattoo
Only,
on
Winky,
their
and them.
side. Yeah, that shit was nuts, dude. I was jealous. I wanted to get a tattoo after that. I was like, where's the shop at?
Yeah, it was super dope.
Yeah, and your brother was there. Got to meet your little bro.
Yeah,
was super
loved
chill.
it. He loved it. That was a fun trip. We get Scottejaye to go next time.
I'm going to the next one.
Yeah.
I said that last night. I'll definitely be going to the next one. There looks like there's been a lot of spell changes, but I can't actually see.
Is there?
Yeah, but I can't. Like, none of them actually look like they've been changed. So it could just be like slightly like coefficients, wording, maybe. Changed in build 5.2. Like, that must be the latest one. But it doesn't actually show the metamorphosis change, so probably we'll see. I'm sure Wowhead will decipher some of the shit and put it out in the next couple of days. So, I mean, we're not going to do any of the like icebreakers or anything like that because you've been here before. Like, we don't need to. But what are you like? Obviously, I know you're going to say Warlock, but what are you excited for? Let's say outside of Warlock.
Mage. Those are my two favorite classes. Those are the two ones I'm waiting on. We're doing all the Wowhead Ice Veins guides on. They're my two. I can't wait. I've been theory crafting a lot of it. I'm excited to heal on a mage, DPS on a mage, tank on a warlock, DPS on a warlock, PvP on both. I feel like they're like the most powerful classes, which could be just coped out of my mind, but
I think Mage is going to be awesome. You know, I'm excited about Mage. So you're gonna what about DPS wise on a Mage? So you said you're gonna heal on it. Obviously, what DPS spec are you gonna go?
DPS mage first. Well, I want to go fire, but I want to go fire. I don't want to go frost, right? But I think mana is still going to be an issue. We don't know how hard the raids are going to be, if they're going to be buffed at all. But I feel like mana is always going to be in question, even with full like int gear on. I really want to go fire more than anything because fire is just fun. Arcane's never been like that fun to me, but it's better than it was in classic, right? With Arcane Blast and stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
One of those two specs, whatever is better of the two, that makes sense mana wise. And if they buff it and we have to play frost, then I'll just play frost. You know. I'm just excited to do damage. I'm excited to level it. I'm excited everything about. I've been known for hating on mages pretty much ever. It's like a meme. But I just am, ever since I played my mage and Lich King, it's just like I'm just mage coped out of my mind right now. The mage and warlock are like my two. They're just so fun. And I like Shadow Priest too, but I don't like the spot. I'm gonna play a Shadow Priest, but I just don't like the spot that they're in mana wise right now. I think they're gonna struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I'm the same.
What rune would you want to have first on Mage and Warlock? Like if you got to pick one of the 12 and you're like, yo, I hope this is the one that we get as a level 2 quest.
Well, I'm not going to get meta, obviously. Meta's the later one, but meta is what I'd want more than anything. And then like Living Bomb probably or something. But they said it's going to be a glove rune, right? So it's going to be one of the glove runes. So like your Warlock one, you're not getting meta right away because it's too powerful. You're not getting Chaos Bolt because that's too powerful. So that leaves you with like Haunt and what is it, Shadow Bolt Volley or something?
Shadow Bolt Volley,
So
yeah.
I think it's going to be Haunt. And Haunt will be good with leveling because it's instant cast now and it heals you and buffs your damage, which is all right. And the Mage one, the only one that makes sense for Mage in the glove would be like, I guess Living Flame. Is that the Mage one? Is that a glove one? Living Flame would be nice, but
No, you got Living Bomb, Ice Lance, Arcane Blast.
I would love Living Bomb. I don't think you'd get that while leveling because it's so powerful. I think they specifically said they're not going to let you get like the super powerful ones. So it's probably like, Ice Lance, Living Bomb.
I kind of, if I was to put money on it, I kind of would say Arcane Blast is probably going to be first. I know it's powerful, but it at least can be used by all specs. It's what you're going to need if you're going to want to heal. It's almost going to be essential. If you was to heal, like, let's say you get regen by the time you're level 12, 13, something like that. I feel like Arcane Blast would likely be an early one. It would be shit if it was Ice Lance, the first one.
Well, Ice Lance would be good for leveling because you're leveling Frost. And you're always slowing shit down and freezing them and stuff.
I'm actually going to level Arcane, like literally the whole way.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Maybe not until
if you
15.
If you get Arcane Blast?
Yeah, if I get Arcane Blast, 100%. Yeah, like absolutely zero doubt I'll be going Arcane. But obviously, like I'm not like gonna just speed level, like as in doing following rested XP the whole way. I'll be questing using rested XP, but I want to be doing all the dungeons on the way up multiple times. So as soon as we can get in dead mines, like me, Table, Go, Griff, like, we're gonna just get in and smash dead mines probably back to back 4 or 5 times, and then go back to questing. And so I need to be able to heal whilst leveling, fairly efficiently. And there's not going to be that much difference, between like leveling actually spec'd into Arcane. I mean, Arcane concentration is just going to be huge. Just clear casting, keeping you pumping anyway. Like,
what about professions like NG tailoring for both, or is there like a better one for like Warlock since it's tanky, or a better one for Mage because you can heal?
Engineering tailoring is best for both in rating certain terms, but I think leveling, I think on a broad spectrum, you go enchanting tailoring for your wands early, right? But if you have people making your wands or you're just going to buy it from the auction house, I'd probably just go gathering just to get gold, because gold's going to be hard to find, right? Unless you're buying gold, which I don't buy gold. So it's going to be like, you want gold, you're going to need it. Because a lot of if we call it pre-bis or whatever, a lot of stuff you're wearing, unless a bunch of gear comes out when the raid, which there is, are BOEs. And they're going to be the green BOEs, which normally are pretty cheap. But since that's all we get at 25, I think they're going to be pretty expensive. Like the Fire Wrath gear, Arcane Wrath, Frost Wrath, Shadow Wrath. Even just like the good int stam gear, int spirit gear.
Yeah, I'm gonna go personally enchanting tailoring, not for end game, but yeah, while I'm leveling, like you said, make my own bags, make my own wand, not have to worry, be able to make like if like the people who I'm doing dungeons with aren't going enchanting but need a wand, can sort them out. Same with bags. It's and then I'm gonna definitely end at 25 as engineering tailoring.
Yeah, I think engineering. Engineering. Yeah, you just got to be. It's just nice. Grenades. You have like spell power goggles right away. 21 spell power on your helm. Like that's so much spell power at that level.
Yeah.
And then my gnome, I want deep dive helmet, right? So I don't have to fish up the 15 stam one for my tank or my warlock.
Mm-hmm.
And then in tailoring, just because you want the boots, right? But you don't need tailoring right away, so you can like kind of. I thought about like maybe going engineering and mining, just to mine my own stuff up and then drop mining for something. I'm not really sure. Because you don't need the tailoring one right away. What I'm going to do in the second one, I kind of want to just do a couple gathering, even if you're vendoring all your skins or herbing and selling them because they'll be nice, right? Peace Blue Mafia time,
Yeah, I think my plans now. Now I'm definitely going Horde to begin with. My plans have changed slightly, So Mage main 100%. Like it's going to be the first one I get to 25, and then the second character I think will be Shaman. And that'll be purely, it will be purely a gatherer. I will raid on it, obviously, but I'm not going to like worry about min-maxing its professions. It'll just be, I was actually thinking mining and skinning rather than mining herbalism, just because I'm not going to have anything to do with the herbs. So, and if I go tank shaman,
herbs are going to be that expensive.
No, I don't think they will,
because they're not like, there's nothing like crazy consumable wise that you're gonna. I feel like, right?
Yeah, and it'd be fun, wouldn't it? Like AOE grinding as a tank shaman. With Molten Blast and shit, it would actually probably be quite an enjoyable thing to go out and farm on anyway. So, that's my plan. And then obviously, my third character will be Alliance anyway, and it will just 100% be a Paladin, just like no doubt.
So I haven't looked into engineering much past the 21 spell power helm, but you mentioned the bombs. Is it the Mithril Frag bomb that we're going to be able to get? I see it's a 215 requirement. Mithril's going to be rough to get, but
yeah,
the bomb itself
so expensive.
It looks pretty strong. I didn't do NG back in Classic, so this is my first time.
Too, right? I think the lowest sappers you get are Mithril, no?
Ooh,
yeah, pretty sure you can get.
Oh yeah, 205 you can get sappers. Yeah,
but I don't think.
Those are big damage at that level.
I don't think you can do the specialization quest though, can you?
I don't think. Do you need to for the lowest one?
I'm not sure. I'm not 100%. It's been a long time since I've done the vanilla side.
Neither.
But, it might be that level requirement. Yeah, but Mithril Frag bombs every minute, throwing them out, and it has a stun as well for trash at least.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone who's solo dungeon grinded on low level characters in Wrath know how powerful they are. As in soloing dead mines or soloing stockades and shit like that. And having the highest level bombs you can get. It's insane. Yeah, I definitely got to go in. I mean, when I say definitely got to go engineering, I'm not really doing it for the bombs because, I'm going to be a healer. So, whatever. I'll probably forget to use them most of the time as a healer. But I'll be doing it for the spell power head. Like, that's fucking huge,
Yeah,
man.
it's so big. It's so big, dude. 21 spell damage is like, it's a lot. Even like if you use like Arcane Wrath or Fire Wrath or gear or whatever, those are like 8, 9 a piece on each piece of gear.
Yeah.
So you have like 3-4 spell damage worth on one piece.
And I think like, well, me personally, obviously I'm sure a lot of this will become a lot clearer over the next week or so, but I think I'm going to be looking for more like eagle gear. So, I want intellect on the mage.
Yep.
So the head will literally give more spell power than every other item combined. You'll get your spell power from the head, and then everything else you can just get intellect.
Yep. Exactly. The eagle's going to be nice.
Yeah, man. Yeah, definitely. There's some really good bits.
Well, and also engineering has like minor recombobs, which gives you mana, gives you like 200 mana or something. Use.
Yeah.
Which is kind of not that much, but something.
Yeah. No, definitely. Right, well, where do you want to start, Crix? You're the guest, and Warlock or Mage? Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's go Mage.
Okay.
Saving the best for last. I see what you did there.
Oh yeah, Mage.
All
You're excited for Mage, no?
I'm very
excited. I was shocked that you said
Mage.
on our podcast the other day that you're going to play Mage. I love it.
I'm shocked as well, but it's the fact that it's going to be like I'm not really that bothered about the DPS side. I will obviously I absolutely will DPS as a mage, but I'm just really excited by the healing side of it because I love atonement priests on Kata, and this is like so close to that, but actually a little bit more interesting. It's more like the atonement of retail. So man, I'm fucking mega hyped. Like mage is going to be a lot of fun. Right, okay, well, go. Do you want to start on the glove runes with him? I literally just need to go and get some ice in my drink.
Yeah. Glove runes seemed okay. We've got Arcane Blast. Each time you Arcane Blast, the damage and healing of all other arcane spells is increased by 15%, and mana cost of Arcane Blast is increased by 175. Effect stacks up to 4 times in the last 6 seconds, or until any other arcane damage or healing spell is cast. So this one, I remember, even in PvP, was super fun once you got to that max stack, and then you were just like blasting, but you could only get like 3 or 4 casts at max, and then you were just shit and had to regen somehow.
Well, one thing that's the Arcane Blast with this version of Arcane Blast is different than the TBC and Lich King one, because like in TBC and Lich King, when you Arcane Blast, it obviously costs more mana, but it increases the damage of your Arcane Blast. This one doesn't increase the damage of your Arcane Blast. It only increases the damage of everything, all your other spells, damage and healing, arcane spells. So your Arcane Blast will still do like the same damage on it. So it's one of those things where you would just use them forever. Instead, you're going to go, to 3 stacks or 4 stacks, whatever it is with your mana at the time when we figure it out, and then dump with a different spell and then go right back into it.
And it's worth noting as well, it's a very, very mana efficient spell. Even if you was to do like 1 Arcane Blast and then a regen, a slightly more powerful regen like on yourself, and then another Arcane Blast. I mean, 2 to 3 Arcane Blasts back to back is still going to be very, very cheap.
Yeah, the first one is 33 mana, so...
yeah.
And the difference from 3 and 4 is not that much damage, so a lot of the times you just dump 3.
So 33 mana, yeah, I mean, it's less than like rank 2 Fireball, it's less than Frostbolt rank 2. It's going to be pretty nuts. I wonder what how it compares to Arcane Missiles. You get that 8, don't you? I mean, Arcane Missiles is literally over double, nearly triple the cost of 1 Arcane Blast. I think they're going to be extremely mana efficient if played right. Like I actually do. I think it's going to be just learning how that looks.
Balance it. Yeah, I feel like it's going to be like, obviously, like I want to play Fire, but I feel like we might not have enough in for Fire, so where you would play Arcane. So I'm not sure. We get Evocate, right? You get Evocate 24, I think, or 20 or something. So
yeah,
20. So at least we have Evocate.
That's an interesting thought. Arcane ones. If Arcane ones heal.
Oh.
With your wand talent too, you can wand spec.
Yeah, I mean, exactly how does Regen read? So 40% of all arcane damage done by the caster will be converted. All arcane damage, yeah, I mean, an arcane wand.
What about an arcane bomb?
Well, yeah, exactly. Even, an arcane bomb. I mean, that would be
Four-stack
quite
Arcane Blast
interesting.
into Arcane Bomb, yeah.
It's not going to heal
Arcane
for
Bomb
mass
you can't
amounts.
get
But
right now, though, yeah. That's a level 300. That's a level 300 one, though. But yeah. Eventually.
I like the wand idea. I'd not thought about that at all. Like, that's a really, really good thought. You know, even if you were struggling on mana or you just wanted to regen for a bit and you're just wanding, it's just keeping the tank topped off. Like, this is why I'm looking forward to Mage. I come alive when we start talking about Mage, because all the other classes, they're going to be great and I'm going to play them all eventually. But like the Mage is just, there's so much more that's not known than the others. You know, we got a good grasp on how the other abilities work, but this is like, well, who fucking knows? We ain't seen it before. Yeah.
It's so new. Yeah, exactly. It's new. Even Mage Discord, nobody really knows. We're kind of all speculating with it. And it's like, well, what do I put in the guides? Because we don't really know. All I know is it costs a lot of mana and I'm scared of it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, okay. So that was Arcane Blast.
We got Ice Lance. I used to love doing this. With
Sorry,
PvP,
go.
especially.
Just one thing about Arcane Blast, one more, and then move on. What I think is going to be massive, and when you actually look, so Go, obviously you've done all the mana breakdowns, how much that they all cost. So regen is obviously quite expensive. Like, it is actually quite an expensive heal. And obviously you're gonna want it up for a beacon. But if you don't need it right on the pool, it would be like ridiculous doing 4 Arcane Blasts and then popping regen. You know, because like you're not gonna want to cast too many regens, and getting it like fully buffed and then applying it so you get a beacon on. Like, I reckon that's gonna be a monstrous hot. You know, like mana per healing would be like through the roof.
Yeah, you can also try to get it on before the pool too, and try to sip a little bit since it's a 30-second. Carries over for 30 seconds. If you can sip and get some of your mana back. There's also the rapid regeneration that was in the files that we don't know if it's going to be in the game too.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a spell that acts the same thing, but it's half the cast, a little bit less healing, and only 20 seconds instead of 30 seconds. But we don't know if that's going to be in there. I hope it is.
Yeah, that would be cool. The only thing the one thing at the moment with Mage Healer that I feel like it's lacking is you lose quite a lot of control. I feel like you should be able to actually remove a beacon from someone. You know, like, or even if it was like you could get your raid to use cancel aura macros to remove a beacon if it was a class as a buff. Because, you know, if there's about to be big tank healing coming in, you've got to be timing everything like perfectly to not have beacons on other people. Do you know what I mean? That's the only thing I'm a bit scared about. It's like, if someone's got a beacon on them and you don't want them to have it anymore, it would be nice to get rid of them.
Click it off though, right?
I don't know. Like, I've got no idea.
But then you got to be like, hey, click off your beacon type shit.
Exactly. And like, you know, I know weak auras can help some of that stuff when you've got, you know, when we've actually got them. But if it was a cancel aura macro just to cancel a beacon off, it's still, the control's not in your hands still though, is it? Like, you're now relying on someone else to do something, which they just won't, because they won't listen. But yeah, that was it. Sorry, go. Yeah, carry on with Ice Lance. It's just that's my one concern about it.
I thought of another thing with Arcane Blast, because it looks like you said the damage of it doesn't increase as it gains the stacks. So it's got full damage the first cast, like from cast 1. So once you get like presence of mind between 25 and 40, you can just, in PvP or something, I'm just imagining somebody channeling like the first Arcane Blast and then Palm Arcane Blast. So like you just get 2 like in the same GCD. Like the burst from that's going to be sick.
Yeah, it would be pretty insane. I kind of wish that they did actually increase, especially after the nerf to it not being 100% healing and now only being 40%. I kind of wish that Arcane Blast did benefit from itself. You know, so it is more expensive to use, but it will do more damage. Like, I don't know. I feel like that's another like minor little change that would be nice to see.
I agree.
But yeah, Ice Lance.
Yep.
Deals frost damage to any enemy target and causes triple damage against frozen targets. So you can... There's a permafrost, I think, is a talent that you can get as Frost Mage, and every frost spell has a chance to freeze your target in place, and then you can Ice Lance, you can Frost Nova, Ice Lance, you can Cone of Cold with permafrost, you can Blizzard, and get procs to freeze people. Like,
Frostbite,
Ice Lance is nuts, yeah.
Ice Lance is really good. It's going to be even nice for leveling if you can get it too. I don't think you'll use it in PvE setting that much, though.
Yeah, like, can't root a boss, so can't really min-max it with that.
It'll be really nice for level, like very good in open world, very good for PvP as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be more excited for it for PvP. Yeah, I've got to be honest. Like, but PvE, like leveling, it will be nice, but I feel like the talents bring that on a lot more, don't it? Like brings it online a lot more with Shatter and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, that's why once we get through all the runes, like we'll have a proper little talk about what rune we realistically think is going to come first. Because I do think Ice Lance is a contender, definitely.
Yeah,
but you can't really root that early on, right? Like when do you get Nova?
Like 8?
Really
8?
quick.
I'll tell you, hang on.
But it's also one of those things that you can just do it while you're moving and doing damage too, like to finish off a mob.
10.
Yeah,
you get
10.
Nova at 10.
Yeah. Nova at 10, then you can run into Frostbite right away. You know, Frostbite you're getting at 15, 16, 17 maxed out. And then you can just have the chance to freeze them.
Yeah. That's the only the only reason I feel like Arcane Blast actually is the one that makes sense to get first. Because like on the basis Ice Lance really, you know, to do proper good damage, it needs to be frozen, and you've got no way to freeze until 10. Arcane Blast don't rely on anything, if you know what I mean. It doesn't rely on anything to be able to do damage, you know. Oh no, we could get bloody rewind time first and get trolled.
I feel like you just chew through so much mana if you had Arcane Blast leveling.
Yeah, I mean, but potentially. I mean, again, on the basis that it's actually cheap, you know, you could just like go Arcane Blast, Fireball. Oh no, because then you're going to do less damage. Actually, no. It's because it's not until... No, you wouldn't do less damage. So you could go Arcane Blast and then like Fireball, and then, you know, you'd wait until the Arcane Blast debuff actually falls off of you to then use it again. And then that would actually be really super efficient, I'd say. Or Arcane Blast and Frostbolt, like whatever way around.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, it would, because it would kind of be pointless pressing it twice on the basis it's not going to increase its damage. It's only going to increase its mana cost. So there kind of is no point pressing it a second time, is there? And that's
I just like... I'm level... I like Frost. Frost is so much fun to me. Not that fun at 25, right? Whatever gets them out of the AoE grinding. I hate AoE grinding.
Yeah, same. And I, you know, again, like I could very well end up going Frost. I say I'm going to level all the way as Arcane, but I could end up Frost until like 15, 16, and change to Arcane to start healing dungeons. Like, I don't know. It's something that I do need to decide on, though. Cool. Anything else on Ice Lance?
Nope.
All right, Living Bomb. Now this, if we got this at level 2, I would be...
I'd shit my pants.
I would be creaming my pants. Yeah.
It'd be so good.
Is this the Wrath version of it? Like that we were seeing right now?
It's the same thing,
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, the target becomes a living bomb, taking some fire damage over 12 seconds. After the 12 seconds, or when the spell is dispelled, the target explodes, dealing fire damage to all enemies within 10 yards. Like, yeah, it fucking pumps in AoE packs right now.
Yeah, it's going to be nice. And if you're leveling, you could pull... I can imagine the AoE grinding with that. Even if you were Frost. Like, that would still be really nice.
Yeah, 100%. But again, like you said earlier, Crix, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's far too strong to get very early. You know, like I could see this at like 18, 20, something around that.
Because they said that the runes that are more like stand outish like these are going to be the ones that you can't get right away. They're ones that you're going to get later that make you work for it to get it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. We will probably go into more detail on some of these when we start putting builds together anyway. So, rewind time.
Your current target with your temporal beacon instantly heals all damage taken over the last 5 seconds, and effective on targets that did not have a temporal beacon 5 seconds ago. So what the fuck is temporal beacon? That's one of the new things, right?
Go on, Crix.
Whenever you regen somebody or mass regen them, it puts a beacon on them. And that beacon is what heals them over time. And when you put a beacon on somebody, 40% of your arcane damage heals them. And also, you can rewind whoever has the beacon, right? And I like this because it makes you more of a proactive healer. You can't like react. You have to know ahead of time. It's yet to know how much it's going to help. Even after they buffed it, where it was that minute long, now it's on 30-second cooldown. It's just hard to imagine being a healer and not having Arcane Blast. So I feel like it's an all right talent, the rune, but like I can't imagine a world that you would go full heal without Arcane Blast. Even if you went full regen, mass regen, rewind time, and just act like a healer the whole time.
Yeah,
it's nice. It sounds cool. I mean, I feel like obviously someone can't die and you get him back up with it. But if you imagine someone taking a huge hit, a tank hitting the Wombo combo, and you rewind it and they get all that healing back, right?
Yeah, I like it because it's new. I like it because it's different. You know, it's cool. I like the way that it works. But yeah, I'm not a fan of it personally. I can't see many occasions where I'd use it.
It's definitely one of the coolest ones because it's out of all the classes. It's that. Well, I know there's other classes that have new runes too, but this is the one rune that people haven't seen. Like unless you're playing retail, like you don't really. Regen 2, obviously, the healing portion in general. All like you know what Arcane Blast is. You know Ice Lance. You know Living Bomb. This is like, oh, rewind time. Like the whole meme of time mages healing. Like this is it, you know?
Yeah, I kind of, for me, I said it on your podcast, Crix, a couple of days ago. Like, I feel like if they actually changed it so it was a 10-second cooldown, but it only healed 50% of all the damage they took over the last 5 seconds, I kind of would prefer it then. But then you're still struggling for arcane spells to press, aren't you? Now all you've got is arcane missiles, like, which is very expensive. Then you could start struggling a little bit.
Well, you can get clear cast procs, right? Like early on?
Yeah. By 20.
You take it.
Well, by 15, technically.
Yeah, so then you just use your arcane missiles with your clear cast? Is that still like a thing? You try to fish for clear cast, and then once you get clear cast, you send a missile?
Yeah, but it's 10% chance to get clear casting, so it's one of those things where you're just like, when it comes up, you would use something that's going to be benefit of it, you know?
Yeah.
What's the mage spell that healed the mage? Because it sounds a lot like Rewind Time, but it was just for the mage. Like you would pop it, you would take damage, and then you could click it off or let it expire, and once it expired, it would heal you back. You know what I'm talking about? It was a retail thing back in MOP or something.
I know what you're talking about. Was it not like Arcane Displacement or was it something like that? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, because that's what this spell reminded me of, but it was like, oh, you can use that on other players now. And I was like, that's pretty neat.
If I look at
I never heard of it.
Talent count, I'm sure it was one of the healing talent options for a mage.
Temporal Shield.
Temporal Shield envelopes you in a temporal shield.
Alter Time.
Alter Time.
Okay.
That's the one. Yeah, Alter Time.
Yeah.
So after alter the fabric of time, causing the caster to return to their current location, health, mana buffs, and debuffs when cast a second time. Yeah, so you could literally get an extra 6 seconds of all buff up times and everything as well. I remember that.
It was so sick.
Yeah, that's cool, man. You never know. That could end up as a rune.
Ooh, yeah.
I hope so.
I can't wait to see what other runes they add in. That's like so exciting to me.
Well, I kind of feel like to make rewind time worthwhile at some stage in the future, they really need some more arcane abilities to come from runes.
Yeah.
You know, if not Arcane Blast, then maybe Barrage, like Arcane Barrage, or maybe like they make a new one. You know, it's like Arcane Ball or something. You know, like, but you need something else as a filler to keep pressing. Time warp, yeah.
That would be dope.
Yeah, but
that'd be sick.
But only a personal effect. Fuck everyone else. Cool. All right, so that's the glove runes. Should we do? I think we need to do chest first, because that's where we're going to start getting the single target regen. So, but we'll start at the top when you're ready to go. So, Burnout.
Yes, this reminds me of Super Trippy. The spell's called Burnout. Increases your spell critical strike chance with all spells by 15%. Like, that's fucking wild. Like, Druid doesn't have that. What? But your non-periodic spell critical strikes now have an additional mana cost of 1% of your base mana.
Mm-hmm. I don't see a world where any mage spec doesn't take this besides healers.
I agree.
Obviously, healing you take regen, but Frost, I can't imagine anyone taking Enlightenment is ass because you are rarely above 70% mana. You are for a little bit, but you know. And then Fingers of Frost is, I mean, maybe if you're a Frost, but I feel like that you wouldn't even take that much. I feel like you just burn out every time. 15% crit is a lot of crit. Fire, obviously, you're going to take it because you need crit with the whole Ignite mechanic. Arcane, it just crits. It's too nice. 15% crit is a lot of crit.
Yeah.
And 1% base mana is going to be what, 5? It's so ridiculous that it's like so ridiculous.
I could see them changing, like nerfing that a little bit from the base mana cost.
Me too. If they're going to keep it as 15% crit, then it needs to be like 3 or 4% base mana. Like, it needs to be a decent amount where you really need to consider your options. But 1% is like, you will not even notice it. Like, you will not notice that 1% base mana like being lost. Go tell us, because you've got all of this in front of you. How much is 1% base mana?
Oh, I don't know. I was just checking to make sure that this wasn't changed on the actual like tooltip page. But no, it still says 15 and 1. So I could figure out what the 1% is.
Yeah. 1 hour server maintenance starting in 15 minutes for NA. What? Anyway, that might be retail. That might not be classic. Strange though. All right. So yeah, Burnout. Like Crick said, if you're literally any DPS mage spec, there's just no point in not taking this. It's such an insane amount of crit for practically no downside.
Yeah.
So Enlightenment. Now you didn't like this, did you, Crick? So when I was on the podcast with you the other day, you were saying like you think it's a bit of a trap. You know, trying to bait
I feel like
people.
you're not above 70% mana that much. You know.
Yeah, 10% more damage. So yeah, for the first, it might be like, I don't know, 15 seconds of the fight, you're gonna do 10% more damage, and now that rune's gone pretty much. You know, from there, because even the 10% mana regen to continue while casting, that's so low. Like that's not a lot of mana regen. You know,
and that's at the end when you're just like fight's getting close to over by then. I think.
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal.
At 40, you could beg and plead to a resto druid because Feral and Boomy aren't giving it to you, but you can ask for Innervate at the start of the fight and just totally blast for 20 seconds with Innervate up and try to keep over 70% mana.
and then you got
50% crit would just be more damage than 10% damage.
Facts.
You know what I mean? 50% the whole entire fight of crit, or 10% for, you know, however long of the fight you have it.
Yeah. I mean, I do see like quick fights. Yeah, like a really let's think of a boss in BFD, a nice, you know, where it's going to be a really quick fight, all over and done within, let's say, like 30, 40 seconds. You know, where you could literally absolutely just blast, go like pop trinkets, whatever you've got. I don't know. You probably won't even have any trinkets like that with on use effects, but yeah, you just blast, and then the second you dip under, you just evocate for a couple of seconds just to get you back up above that threshold, so you keep the 10% damage. I could see, you know, certain boss fights where you would potentially use it, but again, yeah, 15% crit. That's so much.
I agree.
Later on, let's just theorycraft here for a second. You're at level 60. You're in Nax. You've got like all your Nax gear, and you're loaded up with crit. Is there like, do you get close to crit cap with like your frost spec or your fire spec at all? Where it's like, oh, okay, this gives me 15%, but it's going to put me 8% over, so it's really only given 7% crit. And then you would maybe have an option to go with Enlightenment at that point?
I don't actually know. Yeah, I
two or something.
I don't know what you'd have as a mage in full bis in Nax. You know, my knowledge of that late end game is really bad, to be honest with you, because by then I'm normally bored of 40-man raids and just want to go and play something else.
I don't even know what the cap. I think soft cap is 60%. I don't know, something like that. So I can't imagine how long it would take for you to get there.
Yeah, there's not that much crit, I don't think, if I remember right. So it'd probably be rough.
But again, it's still a shitload of crit in it. Like,
yeah.
I mean, you're probably not going to have 15% crit at level 25, are you? Have you looked what you're going to have in full bis crits?
No. I can look at it right now, though.
I want to say it's like 7 or 8%.
7.9 for you.
It's literally giving you double your crit that you're going to have from gear. That's mental. It really is. Cool. Fingers of Frost. So Fingers of Frost.
Yeah.
You read away, Go. You like reading these tool tips.
Well, yeah. Somebody was pointing out earlier that you can use Ice Lance on like a boss fight with Fingers of Frost because it gives your chill effects a 15% chance to grant you the Fingers of Frost effect, which treats your next 2 spell casts as if the target were frozen. Last 15 seconds. So mainly PvP, but yeah, you could sneak this into some PvE stuff too if you wanted.
I think
Even like leveling dungeons.
Cricks, feel free to shoot me down, but like I think comparing what you're going to get for fire in terms of runes compared to frost, I just don't see anyone raiding as frost.
No, unless like the only way I can see people raiding as frost is if the fights are extremely buffed or like long, and you just cannot afford the mana. Like you just keep like in the gear, you just can't afford the mana, and you have to go Frost because they're better with mana, right? But I have no idea. I don't imagine it. I know nobody wants. I mean, not nobody, but I know the majority doesn't want to play Frost. So
yeah. I think especially like with living bomb. 15% crit for fireball, well, for everything. Like fire's just looking
and then
pretty
the fire
insane.
talents are gonna and the fire talents we get into them are nice. So fire's gonna be a lot of fun.
See, I do wonder if Arcane, actual DPS, not healing, is gonna have a place. What's your thoughts on that?
Speculated right now is that's what you'd be like. It seems right now like we're assuming that fire's mana wise is gonna be kind of rough. Obviously, it's all speculation, and that you would just be Arcane. We're just hoping that we could be fire.
Yeah, no, because that's why I've kind of looked at even the leveling as Arcane, because yes, I can heal, obviously, which is great, but just change a couple of runes, and I think I'm going to be just pumping anyway, you know, if there was another healer that wanted to join. So yeah, man, I'm just fucking so excited for Mage. It's just going to be so good.
Are you excited to get our second guest on for the tier list portion of the show?
It's Agron's coming on to do the tier list with us, because I hear he really likes tier lists, for anyone who doesn't know.
Actually?
No.
No, Blaze and Bob, bro.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Do you want to go with a super chat?
Yeah. My 3 favorite people alive. Sad I'm not there with you. We should do a tier list. It would be so cool.
Why do people troll me with tier lists? And when you said 3 favorite people alive, I see me and Crix, but where's Mel? I don't see Mel on screen anywhere. It's weird. What weird thing to super chat? Just lying to everyone like that.
We've got Regeneration, the final. What is this, leg rune?
yeah, go on.
Oh, chest rune. Okay, chest rune. Regen, as everyone's gonna call it, heals the target for some health over 3 seconds and applies Temporal Beacon for 30 seconds. After casting the spell, you will suffer from Tangled Casualty for 5 minutes, reducing...
Causality.
What, did I say that wrong?
Causality?
Yeah. What did I say?
Casualty.
Casualty, yeah. I've heard it both ways. Reducing your fire and frost spell damage done by 50% and preventing the use of ice blocks. And then it goes on for Temporal Beacon, what that is. I can't be bothered to read that. I just got shut down on causality.
You got to recover from that embarrassment.
I got to regen.
So yeah, so Temporal Beacon, this is the way you apply your atonement, okay, basically. So records the subject's space-time position. 40% of all arcane damage done by the caster will be converted to chronomantic healing and divided among the caster's current Temporal Beacon targets. Thoughts, Crix?
For Regen?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the most exciting spell out of everything that every class got besides meta for Warlocks. I'm really excited for it. It's a unique where it's a channel for 3 seconds, but you don't need to actually channel to put the beacon on. You can just tap it and then immediately cancel it. It puts the beacon on there, so you don't have to do the whole 3 second heal. When I was watching, this is before the nerf, before they nerfed it to not the 40%, but just the base healing. They nerfed that as well when they nerfed it all, and it wasn't that big of a nerf. And I remember watching Sony. He's in the middle of PvP and he's just standing there letting this demo lock in meta full pump into him, and every like 4 seconds he just does 1 regen and it heals him, like not all the way, but like 70%. Like it heals him a lot. And then he waits. He's laughing, like hands off keyboard, like, oh, let's see what it does. And he presses it and he heals him back up again. That was before they changed the base healing from it, but it's going to be interesting. I don't know. I'm very excited for it. I think it'll be fun. I think it's be really. I mean, the change to it where the 50% fire and frost reduction, and you can't ice bolt was strictly for PvP, right? Because if you can imagine a mage being able to, whenever he wants, heal himself and then go back into his rotation, that's kind of crazy. So I do like that they changed that in terms of PvP. In PvE, we have to wait to see how good it is. I have reserves where like I don't know if mage is going to be really good at healing or meh. Like, are they going to be able to HPS to the degree that priests and paladins and everyone else can? Or is it just going to be a side healer? Is it going to be a tank healer? Is it going to be a raid healer? So that's like the most unknown thing probably in the game is how the mage healing is going to be. People can speculate how a warlock tank or a rogue tank, shaman tanks are going to be because of the newest like roles. No, we can't even properly speculate with regen or healing mages because we do not know. But it is exciting. If I had to guess, just random, I don't know anything, just random guess. I don't think it's going to be as good as healing per second as like the regular healers. But who knows? I really don't know. I think a very good role for them is keep beacon on the tank, be an arcane mage, but you're taking regen, and you just do you DPS, but you keep the beacon on the tank, or the 2 tanks or whatever it is, you know.
I'll give you my shit take. And I'm not just saying it because I'm going mage. This is actually having looked at every heal from level 1 to 40. So I looked at the first 2 phases. Like I don't care past that, you know. But for every healer, looked at their mana cost, looked at how much output they do. I think you're going to see loads of shit healing mages, loads of them. I think they're going to be fucking everywhere. You're going to be wiping in pugs because the healing mage cannot heal, and then you'll see a good one, and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's what they can do. I genuinely think it's going to be the hardest healer to play in Season of Discovery, but when you see someone who can play it and knows what they're doing, I think it's going to be fucking bonkers. And that is an atonement priest. You know, you get bad atonement priests in Kata where, like me, when I'm drunk and all I'm doing is pressing smite and I don't give a shit about anything else, and then you see good atonement priests, and you're like, all right, so that's what you're meant to do. And I genuinely think this is going to be the same. You know, with even, like you said, about cancelling regen just to get a quick beacon up and then start pumping, or, you know, using regen actually as a primary heal and almost just using the damage that you're going to do as a secondary portion, which is actually, once you start getting plus healing like gear, like rings, trinkets, even weapons, where you're starting to get plus healing gear, I think regen is going to be, well, you just said it yourself. You know, Sony put a regen on himself and it healed him for like 70% of his health. Like, I think regen's going to be doing the majority of the healing, and then your damage portion that is contributing to the temporal beacon is going to be like a little bit extra. But I think you can get mages fall into the trap where they're like, oh, you put a beacon on and then you pump, everyone will be alive. Like, I don't think that's how it's going to play. Could be wrong.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I agree with you.
What does Atonement Priest heal in Kata? Is it like a raid healer, a tank healer, both?
Everything.
Kind of do both, yeah.
Is everything?
You kind of do both, yeah.
It only heals within 15 yards of the target that you're hitting, though. That's it. So you're really healing tanks and melee. But on stack fights, obviously, it heals everyone. But it's fucking bonkers. And obviously, you've got ridiculous mana, like regen, because, you know, Smite's mana cost is reduced when you stack up Archangel. Like, you're just there to do damage, really.
So regen is just like way better than Burnout, even for a healer. I know you were saying healers would be the only one that wouldn't pick Burnout, but that would be 15% for heals as well, the way it's worded, right? Your spell critical
how are
chance.
you going to heal without regen? Mass regen is going to be cheeks, I think.
Oh,
you need unless that rapid regen spells in the game, you have no way to beacon up somebody unless you're using mass regen, which would be less healing because it's AoE. So you quite literally, in my opinion, would need regen.
Okay.
I think a healing mage would either go, you take regen and then Arcane Blast and whatever else for the last one, Lake of Fire. I mean, not Lake of Fire, Living Flame or something, and then you take all 3 and you just focus on healing everybody. But I feel like you either need regen to heal, and then you also want Arcane Blast to do the big healing.
Yeah. So the good thing as well about a healer of this that plays in this style is the way you approach bosses will change. So just take, for example, I can't give you an example. I can't give you an example from vanilla because, yeah, like it's been ages since I even done any of these bosses. But if you had a boss that takes increased damage for a portion of the fight, you're going to do more healing. The more damage you do, the more healing you do. So there'll be, you know, when there's times in the fight, I'll use Halfus and Kata because that's like a prime fight for Disc Priest. You know, every Drake that goes down, the boss is taking increased damage, and then you're like literally smiting for more than a Holy Paladin's Divine Light hits for. You know, it's so there's going to be fights where we're like, yeah, even when like raid cooldowns, when they eventually come, because there's no doubt we're already seeing raid defensive cooldowns, so I'm sure we're going to see raid offensive cooldowns in some way, shape, or form. When they're up, you're fucking pumping Arcane Blast. Like, just pump. It's going to do loads of healing. And then once all that extra damage is gone, then you're just chilling and now just hotting up some people. You know,
I think that's why you wouldn't wear like heal. Like, there's a lot of healing plus gear, but I feel like you can, but I don't think you would wear that because you are doing damage, right? So you would just use and you just need as much mana as you can get, like in spirit. If you stack healing gear, you're kind of scuffing yourself on damage.
Chromagus. It'll give that debuff where it's gonna randomly take increased arcane damage, and then the mage healer is just gonna be fucking pumping.
There you go. Yeah, a prime example. And I 100% agree, Crix. I mean, there probably is a world where actually, when we're on our mages, we're trying to get a bit of both. You know, as in, like, we'll have some spell damage rings, but we'll also have some healing rings. You know, so we could switch them out, fight dependent. Well, that's what I'll be doing. But that's just my excuse of being a fucking little loot goblin. I want it all.
Yeah. I really think the mage healing, I think it's gonna be fun, especially because like atonement healing was one of my favorite things in the game. Before I was playing classic, I was for retail playing a disc priest, and the only reason I didn't play disc in classic was because it was cheeks and there was no atonement healing. And even in Katon, I can't wait to play I love the fact that you can still do damage. I feel like if you compare a Regen mage to a disc priest, I think Regen mage is going to do more DPS for sure. Like blindly just going to say I think they'll do way more, because if you look at an atonement priest DPS, they're doing damage, but it's not like insane damage by any means, right? I think Arcane mage will still do really good damage, especially because if you look at their slot, they're swapping, in the example of the other mages, you're swapping 50% crit from Burnout for Regen, which yes, that's 15% crit. I'm not downplaying that at all, but it's not like you're still taking Arcane Blast and Living Flame or whatever you want in the other slot. You're not like severely scuffing yourself or your gear for that matter, because you're not putting on healing gear. You're going to be still using int gear, the same int gear that you most likely will be using as Arcane, until you can afford the mana pool to be able to use Arcane Wrath gear in that example. So I feel like the mages will still be doing very good damage while being able to regen a target and keep them up.
Yeah, totally agree. All right, cool. So we just got legs, and then we can build some specs, and then move on to the Warlock. And I feel like we're doing really well for time for once go.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We're blasting through it. Yeah.
Just start with Arcane Surge then. I like this ability, and I think it's going to be actually pretty busted in PvP. I want to see how hard this actually hits.
I don't remember Arcane if I ever played Arcane Surge, because I did play Mage for like 5-6 years. But yeah, Arcane Mage or Arcane Surge, unleash all your remaining mana in a surge of energy focus at the target, dealing a bunch of arcane damage. Increased by up to 300% based on your mana remaining. Afterwards, your normal mana regeneration is activated and increased by 300% for 8 seconds. Sounds pretty sick.
I think that Arcane Surge is bait for PvE. I think it's great for PvP. I think you can just like blast somebody down, but I'm worried about not only not taking Living Flame, which will benefit Spellfire, right? So it benefits. It should. We don't know, but it should benefit from Arcane. But you're using the rest of your mana, and also Icy Veins is really good too in this slot. And if you're healing Mass Regen, I don't really know how I feel about Mass Regen with the healer, but Arcane Surge is sucking off the rest of your mana. So even if you used all your mana, and then say you use Arcane Surge once, you're blowing through your mana, however you decide to blow through it, and then you Arcane Surge, like you're getting one good shot out of it, maybe two, versus like Living Flame or Icy Veins. Obviously speculation, I don't know. But
yeah, no, it's a fair point.
A little more context. It's a 2-minute cooldown, so
yeah,
it's pretty beefy cooldown.
Yeah, I would see me using this basically as a, you know, I'd go nearly ohm, and then I'd use it, and then the next time I'm nearly ohm, I'd evocate. You know, that's how I'd use it. And then if the fight is that long that I get it again, you know, it would. But again, if the fights are short, it's not going to be needed. But I would love to see at max mana pop in like Arcane Power, and then 4 Arcane Blasts beforehand to buff it as well, and then Arcane Surge, and just see it one shot someone.
Yeah, I think PvP Arcane Surge is going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
like a lot. That's going to be a lot of fun to delete some people. You might run out of mana afterwards, but I think you can get some good deletion going on.
Yeah, I'll just kill one person every 2 minutes and I'll be happy.
Yeah. He's in a BG just hiding in the building until it comes off cooldown.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And then find someone really shit to get my Arcane Blast charges up on, and then find, look at who's actually like top on their team and one-shot them.
Yeah. You're never going to see it. You're going to see that Arcane Blast image behind the back line. Just you hear that Arcane Blast sound, and then a big surge just deletes you out of nowhere.
It's going to be fun. Because for PvP, you know, there are some good options here. Don't get me wrong. There's still some good options, but I agree with you 100%. I think PvP Arcane Surge is the way, like no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm even thinking further. I'm like, what if you get a invis rune? So then you just get your stacks, pop invis, and then you're fucking stealthing up on somebody and just
Yeah.
And you come out of invis. You've got to slash wave before you cast it, though. You come out of invis, wave, one shot.
It's gonna be crazy.
Icy
Veins
veins
with the mage talents.
There is, and I don't think any of the options are really easy. You know, like there's a place for all of them. Because like, even Icy Veins as a healer, like you know, the quicker you cast in, the more you're healing, more damage you're doing. Like it's an option. So what does it do, Go?
Yeah, it's a 3-minute cooldown. Hastens your spell casting, increasing spell casting speed by 20%, and it reduces the pushback suffered from damaging attacks while casting by 100%. Lasts 20 seconds. And then you can stack this with that trinket from BWL, right? Like the mage trinket. What is it? MGC something.
Mind quickening gem.
Mind quickening gem, yeah.
And then if you're Frost, you have Cold Snap. You have enough points to get Cold Snap at 25, so you get 2 ICs.
Yeah.
So a lot of spell casts going out. What specs?
Only ways to get haste, really.
What specs do you see playing it? With
I feel like you could wiggle this out with. I want to wait to see how good Living Flame is. It was really good in the demo, but we don't know for sure. Especially if it benefits from Arcane like it should. It's going to be really good because you can 4-stack Arcane Blast and Living Flame, and it's going to be doing insane damage, right? It could be good for all of them. It could be Frost. It could be good for healing, unless you're taking Mass Regen, which kind of you would default to. But I feel like maybe you wouldn't take Mass Regen, and you could. I still think you'd heal off Living Flame too. So I think it's up in the air with how Living Flame is going to interact with the game. But I still think this is a good place for Icy Veins. You would take that as second. That's like second pick in my opinion, unless Living Flame doesn't do what we think it's going to do, and then you would just Icy Veins.
I mean, I think Living Flame will do exactly what we think it's going to do, and purely because otherwise they wouldn't have done it as Spellfire. Like if their intentions weren't for it to do damage and healing, it would just be fire. Yeah, that's it. So the fact that they've actually gone out of their way to give it Spellfire damage, because this is basically the Evoker's healing spell, isn't it? Well, Evokers use it on the floor, but it heals everyone it touches and damages everyone it touches. So they've sort of just messed about with that a little bit. But it's got a heal.
I'm gonna ask a dumb question. What the fuck is Spellfire?
Arcane and fire damage.
Yeah.
So wait,
you know how there's Frostfire?
Yeah.
It's like that, but it's Spellfire. So instead of Frostfire being fire and frost, it's Arcane and frost damage.
There's a good if I go Wowpedia spell. Oh, if I just put Spellfire, it shows you a full table of what the dual sort of damage components are, if you like. I can find it. Spellfire type. Magic schools. Yeah, so you've got dual schools. Let me put it so you can actually see it properly on the screen. Where are they gone? Arcane, yeah, so Arcane and Physical is Spell Strike. Arcane and Fire is Spell Fire. You know, Physical and Fire is Flame Strike. So yeah, the fact that they've said Spell Fire, so it benefits from Arcane and Fire spells, like it's a no-brainer.
I think they want it to. It's one of those things where I think it's made to go with the whole like Arcane Blast, and you can bonus it from it. Which, in my opinion, I think that's what it's for.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the guys working on the spells, I know them, and they're pretty fucking smart with what they're doing right now. So I think it was intentional.
Yeah.
It looks like it benefits from a lot of crit stuff too, like Arcane Instability increases your spell damage and crit by 3% if you've got all the points in there. What's the other one? Critical Mass increases critical strike chance of your fire spells by 4%. Yeah, all the hit from all the shit, dude. It's gonna be Shatter increases the crit strike chance of all your spells against frozen targets. That's showing that as it's modified by spell, so it can benefit from Frost too.
Spellfire wouldn't benefit from Frost. It'll only benefit from Fire and Arcane. Frostfire is Frost and Fire, like Frostfire Bolt, which I think will be a rune later, by the way.
Yeah.
But if you had Shatter, then that would increase. This is even
though
all
spells.
It's not all frost spells, damage. Yeah. So you could use Shatter with this somehow, but you'd be in like all three talent trees to get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you was Frost, I mean, you I don't want to just say it, but I'd say you're probably going Icy Veins. If you was Frost.
Yeah,
for sure.
You'd have to put 20 points just to get to Shatter, yeah.
You can only put 1 point in Shatter with the at level 25.
Oh, yeah.
So when you was on, you played a demo, Crix, at BlizzCon. Like, wait, you said Living Flame was doing like really good. Are we just talking pure damage?
Yeah,
like the damage was good.
Yeah, it does really good damage. It just puts the trail and it leaves fire on the ground and follows it all the way to the target and just sits under them. So if you have the boss sitting there and someone's taking the boss and you Living Flame, it's going to hit everything along the way. Or if you imagine a BG and there's a group fight in the middle of Warzone Gulch, there's 4 people in between you and your target, and you throw it on the healer that's sitting in the back line, it'll trail all the way to the healer, right through everybody in the middle, and it's sit under the healer. And it works with arcane stacks, yeah.
Yeah.
Like a good arcane with the speculation for like an arcane rotation right now is that you would 4 stack Arcane Blast and then Living Flame, and then you would 3 stack dump with missiles until 1 minute comes up with Living Flame, and then you would do it again just to get full value out of Living Flame.
Yeah. I mean that would be pretty hot, literally.
I'm excited for it. It looks cool, and it just looks super cool.
Yeah, I just like the fact that it's really difficult to choose between what to use. You know, because I will want to use Arcane Surge on some fights. I want to use Icy Veins on some fights, especially like in dungeons. You know, like in a dungeon, let's say you're in Wailing Caverns, and at that point you've got Living Flame. On the basis it lasts 20 seconds, that's going to be pretty much the entire boss fight. You know, you're going to you'll Arcane Blast 4 times Living Flame. Within those 20 seconds, the boss is probably going to be dead. So it's like it's a really powerful cooldown if you're getting like the full benefit of it. I like it.
It's supposed to. Someone's asking it. It should consume the AB stacks. So you'd 4 stack and then Living Flame.
Yeah.
Speculation though, we don't know, but that's what it should, based off what it's saying it does. That's what we're waiting to find out.
And that's the shortest of the 3 cooldowns. Only 1 minute cooldown for this one.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and the last one,
Mass Regen.
Oh, a nice big one for Go to read. I should have gone and made a drink.
Yeah. Heals all the target player's party members within 15 yards of target player for some healing over 3 seconds. It applies Temporal Beacon to each target for 15 seconds. After casting the spell, you will suffer from Tangled Casualty.
Casualty.
I was struggling for 5 minutes, reducing your fire and frost spell damage done by 50% and preventing the use of Ice Block. And then Temporal Beacon again.
Yeah, same thing as the single target region, just is AoE pretty much.
So there's one thing, and I should have mentioned this on Regen actually. I don't like the fact that it don't let you use Ice Block. That's the only one bit of it that I don't like, because
I think they needed to do that though for PvP.
But as a healer, like if you think about like a paladin, you know, a paladin can heal and then bubble. You know, like there's a lot of sort of ways. I know there probably more is for PvP, but what would be the reason?
Well, you can't in PvE. I don't think there's a world where you ever get Ice Block because it's so deep down in the Frost tree. It's a talent in Classic. You don't just get it baseline.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I didn't even think about that.
So in PvP, if you can imagine Mass Regen, not really mattering that much, but with the Regen, if in PvP you're 1v1ing or you're doing whatever in a BG and you're just pumping and all of a sudden pop a heal on yourself and then block, or, you know, pop a heal and keep pumping. So now they want you to either choose, you're in a dungeon, you're PvPing, I mean, or you're, you know, whether that's a duel or whatever it is in BG, you have a choice to do damage, or you can heal and do less damage. You know what I mean? Unless you're doing Arcane in there, which you very well could, but...
Yeah, no, actually, yeah, it makes absolute sense. I completely forgot about the fact that Ice Block is a talent. Yeah.
I think it was. Fair. I think it was needed. I really do. I think that if they didn't have that, that'd be super pro. Just be able to do a fat heal on yourself and then be able to just go right back into your frost spells or whatever. It's crazy. It did catch me off guard though. They made it so you couldn't block, but yeah, like it's a deep frost talent. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so used to Ice Block just being, just default that I didn't even think about it coming from a talent. So yeah, no, it does make sense.
It pretty much makes it so you, in my opinion, wouldn't take a healing rune if you were PvPing. If you're doing the DPS side of PvP, unless you were a healer, but if you're doing DPS side of PvP.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I mean, mass regenning in a BG and then just 8 Arcane Explosion spamming. Just running in an Arcane Explosion spamming. That's going to be good healing.
I think, AoE healing wise, yeah, like you say, yeah, with Arcane Explosion, Mass Regen is expensive, but it is, you know, it's getting those beacons up. It's still a cool ability. Like, there's no doubt there's going to be a place for it, you know. So what are we talking then, like spec wise? You know, so if we was to say like
Arcane first.
yeah, let's do arcane healer, and we'll say sort of an all round. You know, if you had to just pick a room for each, where you're just an all round, good healer in most situations.
I feel like for Arcane, you're taking Regen in the chest room no matter what. I feel like you have to take Arcane Blast. I feel like you could argue Arcane Blast rewind time, but I really honestly think you'd use Arcane Blast because that's going to be the major of your incoming healing happening. And then legs. I feel like I personally am going to take Living Flame until I get proved that Living Flame is nerfed or it doesn't do what we think it does, but it's between Living Flame and Mass Regen, depending on what you're doing. I feel like if you take Mass Regen, it's nice, but in any scenario, if you're in a raid or a BG and you just have Regen on who you want that's around you to do Regen, like you just put on whoever you want and then you just send Living Flame on a healer or whoever, and it just eats everybody by people sitting it. That's just steady healing the entire time. But I think you can get away with Mass Regen as well. Yeah, but I think it's one of those. I think those would be it. And spec wise, you need Arcane Focus, right? That's 5 into Arcane Focus in the middle because that's your hit. Arcane. The biggest thing about Arcane, which is why I think Arcane might, depending on mana, be better than Fire, because not only is the mana, it's less mana, but you have hit a lot of it. And there's, as you know, as a caster, there's no hit to be found besides 2% or whatever off our that oil, the mana oil, you want the weapon oil you can get from Black Fathom, and then you have like 1% on your boots from the tailoring boots, but like you need hit, and Arcane has a chunk of hit, which then opens up Arcane Concentration for the clear casting, right? And then the Arcane Subtlety just to reduce your threat, which is going to be a big deal, I think, for Arcane and healing, because you have a healing threat, which will also be part of Arcane, because that's how they're working it. And then you have 4 points to put wherever. I think DPS, you can do improved Arcane Explosion, because there's 3 there just to make it, increase the crit chance of it. And then you have 1 in an Arcane Meditation. But I think that if you're healing, I think you just run the same build. If you do the whole Arcane Wand thing, you could probably put 2 in the Wand spec and take the 2 away from Arcane Explosion. But I think you just run the 2 or run the 3 in Arcane Explosion and put 1 in Arcane Meditation, which is only 5% mana regen. It's not like a lot, but better than getting, like, you don't need to increase your armor, you don't need the wands, you don't need your magic absorption, you don't need arcane missiles, improved arcane missiles,
Yeah, pretty much. That is more or less not wands. Go into in Arcane Explosion. That is literally the exact spec that I was planning on being. The only thing I would change slightly is if we do get Arcane Blast first, I would probably I'm talking purely leveling, and I would respec when I got to 25. I would change the Arcane Subtlety and get a couple of points in Arcane Missiles, purely because I'm talking leveling.
And wand spec leveling is very, very, very big. You're leveling, you would 100% take wand spec because you're wanding. The lower level you are, the better the wands are, right? So until like 30, mid 30, wands do like decent damage, especially in the teens and 20s. Like that Greater Magic Wand, the Cookie Stirring Rod, Gravestone Scepter, like these wands are big. So you'll be wanting a lot. Save your mana,
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, and you'd say pretty much the DPS spec is exactly the same. You'd use it for both.
Because because you have Arcane Explosion as your main AoE. You still want your hit, you still want your reduced threat, and you want your clear casting. The other ones are like, you don't care about your amplified magic, dampened magic much. Your magic absorption for your resistances is not that big of a deal. You don't need to increase your armor by your intellect. You just want everything that boosts your damage up.
So then you only change your chest rune if you're going from healing to DPS, and you just switch it to burnout?
Yep.
Yeah.
Personally, I would, unless you want to do a full heal, and then you would take Mass Regen over Living Flame and rewind time. I just can't imagine the whole vocal point of healing is to put the beacon on somebody and Arcane Blast. So that's the big damage. Otherwise, you're putting the beacon on people and Arcane Missiling and burning through your mana super fast. And you can also beacon people on Arcane Explosion as well, which is kind of still pricey on mana. I honestly think that it's going to be Arcane Blast for your damage.
Yep.
Your damage to heal. Yeah. Living Flame, once again, I don't know. We got to wait on that one. It might be Icy Veins for all I know. So Living Flames, Icy Veins, or Mass Regen for sure, one of those.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of flex on the legs. As I say, even Arcane Surge is going to have a place. I think they're all good. In Mass Regen, if it is like a really heavy raid healing fight, having Mass Regen going on both groups, healing 2 different groups, and then you're just spreading a little bit of damage across all of them, into healing. I think there's a lot of options. But yeah, after what you've said about Living Flame, I'm pretty sold on it, actually.
Yeah, and Arcane is, I think it's good. The mana is not that bad for Arcane because Arcane Blast doesn't cost that much. Whereas if you were only solely Arcane Blasting, then yeah, it is like you would in Lich King or TBC. But how it works, I don't think it's going to be that much mana. And Frost obviously is better on mana when you get down the tree a little bit more. But I don't think it's going to be Frost. But I think all else, if mana's too bad for fire, you're Arcane. If mana's still some really bad because the fights are really long as Arcane, then you would go Frost.
So what about fire? So if we was going fire, would it just be literally Living Bomb, Burnout, and
Living Flame?
Living Flame again? Yeah.
I think that Icy Veins and Living Flame could be swapped. Once again, waiting on see how Living Flame is, but I think it's going to be Living Flame. If not Living Flame, then for sure Icy Veins, right? Because that's just more damage.
Yep.
And then I would go 5 and then Proof Fireball, 5 into Ignite, which Ignite's going to be kind of funky because we don't know what version of Ignite we have because it used to be 4 seconds and it was changed to 2 and then back. But you're still going to Ignite. You're just not going to Scorch the whole time to keep it up. It's one of those things where you're just going through your rotation and hoping that your Ignite stacks.
And getting the extra 15% crit as well. You know, the Rune and Ignite obviously synergize nicely.
Mandatory. Yeah, and then I like Burning Soul because this is 70% push reduction on pushback and threat reduction, which you're obviously going to need threat reduction. And then I like putting points into Flamethrower over Pyroblast, but I definitely can see a Pyroblast being great. I like Pyroblast. So that's kind of like depending on what you want on it, really.
So we'd be on 24 at the moment?
Flamethrower is pretty important. Yeah, Flamethrower I really like.
Do you then throw one an improved Scorch for your last one?
No, you need 3 in Precision. Over there in the Frost Tree.
Oh, we've not took Precision. Okay.
Yeah, because that gives you 6% hit.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So I would do that, and I would literally that 1 point. You have 5 in Improved Fireball, 3 into the Elemental Precision, 5 into Ignite, 2 into Burning Soul, and then either the last one into Pyroblast or the last one into Flamethrower. Flamethrower giving you, reach, but then Pyroblast being more damage, and you'd open with Pyroblast too, assuming that I have no problem thinking the tank's going to hold threat on the opener. Pyroblast has a nice dot as well, so I'd probably use Pyro over Flame, but that's kind of up to you.
So it'd be 13, 0, 13, 3. Yeah, and it'd look something like this on screen with Living Bomb.
You 100% need Elemental Precision in my opinion. That's just hit. That's free hit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, even that even sounds quite fun. It's just I
like Pyro. It's just long ass cast. Does all right damage. It's not like a crazy amount of damage in comparison to even if you look at the Fireball rank 4 or whatever you'd be casting. It's not like drastic or rank 5. It's the same amount of damage pretty much as your rank 5 Fireball, which is why Pyro's not like insane.
Gotta get Hot Streak at some point, surely. Mm-hmm. I mean, we might as well finish on Frost because again, we've done well for time. We've only got Warlock left to do. So yeah, what if we was going Frost?
Yeah, definitely 3 in the Elemental Precision, 5 into Improved Frostbolt, and then I'd probably go Ice Shards, just because it gives you more crit into Piercing Ice for more frost damage. Drop 1 from Ice and put it into Cold Snap, and then that's if you're running Icy Veins.
Mm-hmm.
You get double Icy Veins, because otherwise Cold Snap's not giving you anything. You're just getting a use of 2 Icy Veins, which you would, because I don't think you'd use Living Flame. You'd run Icy Veins. And then Cold Snap gives you, so you have the choice of getting 2% extra damage on your frost spells or another Icy Veins, which is obviously a big deal.
Yeah.
And then your obviously Icy Veins. I mean, your hand slot is kind of garbage. I don't feel like it's that good. Ice Lance, I guess, but I don't feel like it's super that good. And I would still use Burnout. Fingers of Frost is some good value too, because if
Living Bomb, no, not for even for Frost.
I don't know. I feel like it's better. I feel like it could be better than Ice Lance, because I feel like Ice Lance is not going to be that big of a deal. But if you take Fingers of Frost and you get your proc of Finger of Frost, you get 2 spell cast off, right? And then for each of those spell casts, you would use a Frostbolt and then immediately spam Ice Lance, right? Because that would count as 1. So your Frostbolt and your Ice Lance hit at the same time, and you can do that twice. So you get 2 Frostbolts and 2 Ice Lances all at one time with Fingers of Frost procs. But I still, speculation by the way, I still think Burnout would be better than Fingers of Frost. Personally, it's 50% crit. I can't imagine it being worse than Fingers of Frost, but I don't know for sure. That's just me thinking. I love Living Bomb. I don't know if it'd be better than Ice. I feel like it still would be. You're not freezing targets that much, if at all.
Yeah, I think if you're not using Fingers of Frost
for sure.
Yeah. So you go Burnout, Living Bomb.
Kind of lackluster in hands, I feel like.
You
can do it twice because when you Frostbolt, 1 proc of your Fingers of Frost goes away off 1 Frostbolt and 1 Ice Lance because they're landing at the same time. It won't take one charge of fingers from Frost and then another charge from the Ice Lance if you use it at the exact same time. I'm talking like as you're casting Frostbolt, you're spamming Ice Lance already. Yeah, exactly. I think Burnout would be better than Fingers because we don't have 5 Shatter. Yeah, I think it really would be Burnout. I don't know about hands. I feel like just looking at it, it makes sense to not like Ice Lance. You would be getting no value out of it. The damage is very, very bad that you would just take Living Bomb and have another dot. But that's just speculating, like I said.
Yeah, I think that's what I would do. Personally, I would go at 25 specifically. I'd go Burnout, Living Bomb, Icy Veins, and then the exact spec that you said, taking 1 out of Piercing Ice and using Cold Snap. I think that would be, pretty bonkers. How long does Icy Veins last? 20 seconds. So you'd have 40 seconds on a fight, with 20% casting speed. Like that's pretty sick.
And then Frostbolt Lance. Okay, thank you, Alec.
Cool. All right. Well, I mean, any thoughts on Mage? I mean, go as someone who's not got that much interest in Mage. Like, what do you think?
The Frost tree was kind of looking pretty strong. I mean, all of them were really, but I used to play a lot of Frost Mage back in the day, and this is like bringing back memories. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm gonna level a Mage, but
you're gonna level a Mage.
I might have to level a Mage. It's not gonna be until like I'm set with like 6 Druids, but Mage just has a place in my heart. I can't get past it. But what races is looking good for Mage? I saw you did a Warlock video, best races for Warlock, but what about Mage?
Gnome for Alliance and Troll for Horde.
Yeah,
Gnome you get intellect, but right off rip. Obviously. Gnome is better than human in every way possible for casters, not just because Escape Artist you were PvPing, but Escape Artist also gets you out of Frostbolt slows or roots or everything in PvE that slows you down, like hamstring, like everything. It gets you out of everything. And you have the engineering bonus, which is like whatever, because you're not really going to go for deep dive helmet, so that extra 15 is not super crazy, but you get intellect, which is nice. So you want more intellect, more crit. Intellect gives you mana and crit, so definitely Gnome. And then Berserking from a Troll is nice.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Troll.
I mean, if I was a full PvP, I think if I was a PvP mage, I'd probably go Undead just for Will. I like Will, and Cannibalize is nice because you can just eat somebody and get some health. But that's up to you on that one.
Yeah, I want Berserking. Like, definitely want Berserking.
PvE, you definitely go Troll, yeah. And in leveling, I feel like you would just level as Frost. Frost is just gonna be really good. If I'm not talking about, obviously, I'm not talking about AOE. If you're just single target leveling, I would just go Frost. Take Frostbite with it, use Ice Lance whenever you get it, and you're just going to be pumping things. AoE, you can definitely just do the typical AoE build, but I think Fire has a place with AoE now because of Living Bomb and Living Flame, if you can get them while you're leveling. I'm curious if you can even AoE grind, because I know they're buffing the outside world. Nobody knows by how much, but they are supposedly buffing it decently. So can you still AoE grind? I don't know. It depends on how much health they get, how much more damage they do.
I mean, yeah, that would be interesting if you couldn't. Yeah, because as I say, my plan all along has been to. I mean, it was going to be more so as Alliance because I know all the good spots as Alliance, but yeah, as soon as I get Arcane Explosion, if I've got Regen by that point, just regening myself and then spamming Arcane Explosion on 4 or 5 mobs. That's literally that's been my plan all along. But
I'm really excited for the Mage, more than I really ever have.
It's the one I'm the most excited about. I'd say outside of Shaman. Like, Mage number 1, Shaman number 2. I really am, actually. I don't know why. I've never been excited to play a Shaman, but I think the changes that they've done...
I'm actually excited to play one, too.
It's going to be fun. It really is going to be fun.
I wasn't excited at all, and then Wowhead was like, yo, can you do the Wowhead enhanced guide? I was like, yeah, sure. And then while trying to learn everything I can about it to do it, I became, fun. Obviously, enhanced a little lackluster because I don't have Wind Fury or nothing, but still, Ellie's going to be fun. Resto looks fun. I think a lot of it looks fun.
Yeah, and Ellie and tanking. They're the 2 that I'm excited about most. Definitely. All right, well, now your bread and butter, Crix. I mean, this is where you just do all the talking and me and Go just sit here and just continuously smile and nod at you. Because I don't think we're going to need to add a great deal on any of this at all. The Warlock.
We want to start with the runes?
Well, I mean, just overall, what do you think? What's, in comparison to all the other classes, how do you feel Warlock's shaping up? I am listening. I'm just going to put some ice in my drink.
Yeah. I think Warlocks will be no cope, one of the best classes in the game at level 25 at least. I'm not going to talk about the future because nobody knows what's going to change. They've made multiple changes to the Warlock runes already because they know it's going to be OP. I think Fire Destro is going to be a powerhouse in PvE and PvP. That's outside of meta. Getting Metamorphosis and being able to sit there and immolate Corruption, Agony, and spam Searing Pain with no cast time. They did just change meta a few hours ago to where you can't fear in meta anymore. Curse of Wreck was your taunt, and now it's not your taunt, and fear becomes your taunt. It becomes an ability called Menace, which then taunts, melee range taunt. So you can't fear when you're in meta, which changes them in PvE a little, or PvP a little bit. But I think Warlocks in general are going to be extremely strong. I think they're amazing support classes now too, because now you have Demonic Pact, which does the same thing it does in Lich King, where like 10% of your spell power is given to your party members. You don't have a lot of spell power at the lower levels, so it's either 10% of your spell power or 13 spell damage. So 13 spell damage is nice. It's still good. So, and you have ways to put Shadow Bolt Volley, shoots 5 Shadow Bolts out instead of 1. That could proc ISB. Nightfall as well. So imagine you get a Nightfall proc, shoot an instant 5 Shadow Bolts out. Those crit. 1 crits, they all crit. You have ISB up on all the targets. It's going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to be very, very good. I think it's up there with, I think it's top DPS, top 3 DPS right there. I think it's going to be Ret, Hunter, Warlock, Mage, depending on how bad the mana consumption is going to be. But I think it's in a beautiful spot, and that's not just Copium. I think a lot of people think it's going to be good. The powerhouses in PvP, very good in PvE. And then Warlock tanking, I think, is going to be good too. That's kind of one of the ones where nobody really knows. Like I did the demo at BlizzCon where I was tanking and no one was really pulling that on me, but nobody was really pressing the right buttons. Like nobody really knew what they were doing. Even me, I wasn't pressing the right buttons. So like I can't judge it based off that. And obviously some things, a lot of things have changed with the runes and the classes since BlizzCon. But I think single target tanking, Warlock tanks are going to be crazy with all the fire damage plus they'll get, which we'll talk about in a little bit when Go goes over the runes, and then being able to single target spam. Instant cast spam, Searing Pain is going to be broken. I think their AoE threat is going to be all right. I don't think it's going to be as good as people think it's going to be for some reason. I think they're just be powerhouses on it, but I don't think they will be until they can start spamming Hellfire, maybe with some pre-shields and like the intensity talent next phase. But I think they'll be all right. I think you still just let a Shaman or a Pally or whoever do the AoE tanking, and you just single target tank. Overall, I think they're going to be amazing at it, at every bit of the game.
So DPS wise, 100% agree. Tanking wise, single target, 100% agree. Yeah. I think the thing that I find strange is like I don't think many people really need to put a great deal of thought into what is ordinarily the best ad tank. Like I'm not talking vanilla. I mean throughout the game. Like Proc Paladin is normally a solid ad tank. I actually think Shaman's going to be better than Paladin. I think your single target
is going to crack.
It's going to be mental. I think Warlock is your single target tank and Shaman is your AoE tank. Yeah,
people argue you have Shadow Cleave as a Warlock, which I get it, you're cleaving things, and even with the 50% threat generation, it does 7 damage to start. So like, I don't care how much threat you're giving me, it does 7 damage. Threat works on how much damage you're doing, right? So that's not helping too much. Like it's nice, but it's just giving you a button to press in melee range. And your AoE consists of pretty much, besides putting corruptions or whatever else you're doing in your own thing, you're just you're tabbing or mousing over Searing Pain. And there is a way that I'm sure there'll be a way where you can like put your Lake of Fire down, run Incinerate Lake of Fire, and then Hellfire spam, and maybe get a Priest Bubble or whatever else. But that's a lot of pushback you're going to get on Hellfire. So we'll see. I think it'd be more like you have Incinerate, you have Lake of Fire, you have corruptions on people. You're Hellfiring with the bubble up until you get pushed back when the bubble breaks, which is going to be really fast because you're hurting yourself with Hellfire. Plus, you're tanking all the mobs even more, so you're taking even more damage. And you just tab Searing Pain. You have threat plates to tell you who you have high and low threat on, and you just spam Searing Pain into the ones that you need it. But I think Warlock's going to struggle a little bit with keeping a big 7-pack on them. Like I don't see that. There's no way people are coped out of their minds if you think a Warlock's going to keep 7 targets on you or 5 targets on you, But I think 1, 2, 3, 4 targets will be fine. I think single target threat is going to be bananas. I don't know how people are going to rip from that outside of taunting itself.
So Big Willie was on here a few days ago, as you know, and he made a really, really good point. One that I like, even when we was on your podcast a couple of days ago, like I completely didn't even think about. When we was talking about the fact that the leg room was, using Incinerate, so it is a hard cast, but then you're going to be doing, 25% extra damage with your primary single target threat ability, with Searing Pain. Do you think Horde Warlock tanks are going to be stronger than Alliance Warlock tanks because they can get Earth Shield from a Resto Shaman, which reduces pushback?
Nice too. Yeah, Earth Shield would be nice, yeah.
I didn't even think about that and was like, man, that is actually like 30% pushback. Yeah, like that.
I definitely think Horde is better on it, yeah. Because Alliance doesn't have anything for a tank besides Gnomes getting like a deep dive helmet, which has a few more stamina than another piece, which you're going to replace at some point in life anyway. So it's not the end of the world. Yeah,
yeah.
But you're going to need some pushback. Incinerate, even when I was casting Incinerate at the demo, yeah, it sucked to get pushback, but it's just necessary. The argument is people are like, yeah, if you're taking 3 seconds to cast an Incinerate with the pushback, that's, you know, how many Searing Pains you're missing, but I already have so much threat. You know what I mean? I can afford to miss that, to buff that up by 25%. And if you happen to pull threat on the boss during that during the 3 seconds I'm casting, then I just taunt it back, you know?
Yeah, and you're put on the pole. You know, as in just on the pull when you know you're not taking any damage anyway.
I already had threat up. Yeah.
Yeah.
On pull, I'm starting with an Incinerate, launching into the air as I'm running in and Searing Painting.
Yeah.
Oh, Alliance gets Concentration Aura.
Yeah, I don't know what level though. 22. Oh, you will have it. So 35% chance. Yeah, so you do have it at 22. Okay.
All right. So yeah, that'd be the same.
I actually didn't think Concentration Aura came to a bit later, to be fair.
No. And eventually you get Pyroclasm, which gives you even more chance of not getting pushed back on Hellfire. That's not till next phase though. When that happens, I definitely think you just can run in Hellfire and tell everybody to keep you up. It's just more like the pushback's gonna be kind of annoying, and the mana cost on Hellfire.
So that actually does spin it round, because Concentration Aura is 35%. So can you improve it in vanilla? Oh, you can. You can actually get it improved in vanilla as well. So actually, Alliance is better.
The wording sounds a little bit different. Like Concentration Aura gives a 35% chance of ignoring spell interruption.
When
and then
damage.
Earth Shield is protects the target with an earthen shield, reducing casting or channeling time lost when damaged by 30%.
Yeah, oh yeah. So like, that's a good point.
Earth Shield's automatically reducing it, but Concentration Aura has a chance to reduce it.
I don't think it matters too much, because like you don't even get Hellfire till level 30, so you're not really going to be able to do that anyway. That's why when people argue, yeah, you can just run in Hellfire, you don't have it until level 30, so the AoE threat at level 25 is going to be like shitty. And all you have is Searing Pain spam on whoever has high target. Yeah, there's a threat modifier on it, we know that, but it's not keeping 4 mobs up there on one time when you have mages living bombing or arcane explosioning, shamans blasting out, all these other classes who have very good AoE. Like, it's going to be rough. Yeah, the fire damage just increases your Hellfire. Yeah. No, it doesn't increase your self damage. It just increases the damage you deal to the target.
Well, actually, Concentration Aura would be, like I'm looking at now, if you had, if we're talking like a 10-man and you've got 2 tanks, so you've got like a prot paladin that's bringing improved Concentration Aura. Of course, you're not going to get it until phase 2. But then 50% chance of ignoring spell interruption. Yeah, all of a sudden, actually, when people are like, oh, but you're hard casting a spell, it's like, yeah, I'm hard casting it, but I'm not getting interrupted. Or, there's a chance I'm not going to get interrupted. It does change it a little bit, but I am.
And that's the tanks that we're running. Is I'm main tanking with the Paladin, me and the Paladin are. So our second tank is the Paladin, and then I'm going Warlock tank. I think the synergy there is going to be bananas.
Yeah, that's insane.
I think Warrior tank is still the best. Obviously, I think Warrior tank, in my opinion, is still the best single target tanks, but I think Warlock's going to be right there. Hopefully, we'll see. No one knows it. This is one of those things, just like Mage healing, where nobody knows shit. We're just talking out of our ass because this is what we theory crafted and think is going to be good at it.
No, exactly. Well, cool. Go. Anything about Warlock in general before we get into the runes?
I'm just seeing that improved Hellstone, and I'm imagining those getting passed out in 40-man raids again.
Not by the tank. The tank gets let off that duty. I don't make anything, mate. I just tank mobs. That's what I'd say if I was a Warlock tank. All right, let's get into the runes then. So, I do actually think the majority of the Warlock runes are fairly cut and dry, which is quite good. In terms of sort of options between them, it is like, well, if you're going to tank, you've only got one option on your gloves. But go on, talk us through the gloves. Go. So you read each ability out, and then Crix can give us his thoughts.
All right, so Chaos Bolt is listed, I think, in the chest and the gloves, but it is a glove rune. So when you see it in the other options, it's for gloves. So Chaos Bolt sends a bolt of chaotic fire at the enemy, dealing a bunch of fire damage. Chaos Bolt always hits, cannot be resisted, and its knowledge causes all your fire spells to pierce through absorption effects. And I know this shit is super fucking busted in PvP, but is it good in PvE as well?
Before we get on to that,
PvE.
sorry, can you say knowledge again? Your knowledge?
Knowledge.
Oh, I just wanted a troll go. Carry on, Chris.
Chaos Bolt's gonna be really good. It's gonna be good for PvE. I think that if you have a Incinerate Lake of Fire boosting your 60 fire damage by 65%, you're gonna one-shot people in PvE, which is PvP, which is gonna be good. But in a PvE Fire Destro world, you're using that. Like you have all your stuff boosting fire up and you're spamming it, right? Eventually you get Conflag, which is nice. You'll get Ember Storm, which is nice down the road. But even at level 25, you have a filler. You're not Shadow Bolting. You're just incinerating. Keep Immolate up and spamming Incinerate. You have Chaos Bolt. Keep your Lake down. It's gonna be really nice. Big damage. I think it's gonna be.
So, just a question. So, if you was a priest, like, and you've got a bubble on you, and you saw a warlock in a Warsong Gulch, how much would you shit your pants? Do you think?
It's going to be terrifying because you're just going to be. The thing about warlocks and PvEs or PvP is you're not going to know what they are unless you don't see. You're going to see a demon form, you're freaking out. If you see meta, if you don't see a meta and you just see fire on their hands as they're casting, you're going to be freaking out, right? And when we get there, even affliction in PvP is going to be really good. So I just would be scared if you see a warlock out there. Like, just be ready. And the worst part is you don't know what kind of warlock it's going to be. Is he going to morph and then trick you a little bit? And then you walk up to him and all of a sudden he goes into meta and you're like, oh shit, it's a meta one. Is he going to last the fire at you? You can't get rid of that chaos bolt coming to you. If you see that little chaos bolt flying in the air, you're just dead. Like, I honestly don't think there's going to be a lot stopping that.
Yeah. I honestly think warlocks are looking very, very scary in both PvE and PvP. And as we get through these runes, I think everybody else will probably agree. What about Haunt?
I think that's going to be a mandatory talent to take if you're fire. You wouldn't do the other ones.
100%.
I can already see myself getting pissed off, playing on EU with a little bit of extra ping, and then like thinking that I line aside the Chaos Bolt, and all of a sudden that bitch comes through the wall and hits me.
Yeah. It's so powerful, it goes right through the walls. Watch out.
Yeah, it don't just pierce absorption effect. It pierces concrete as well.
Yeah, it goes through all terrain.
All right, we got Haunt. Unleash a ghostly soul on an enemy, dealing some kind of damage, and increasing all shadow damage over time you deal to that target by 20%. When the Haunt ends or is dispelled, you will be healed for all the damage it dealt to your target.
Yeah, this is your affliction talent. You're just gonna take this for affliction leveling if you can get it. I don't think this has this Haunt's not that good in PvE in my opinion, not yet at least, because in Lich King it's really good because it buffs a bunch of dots. It buffs your corruption, which does way more damage. Lich King corruption does exponentially more damage than it does in classic. Classic warlocks corruptions is ass. Not only does the talent doesn't buff the corruption like it does in Lich King, it just makes it an instant cast instead of a cast time. And then your agony does more damage, right? That agony, you're not even using it in PvE because you're still curse spotting. You're still keeping up curse to wreck, curse to shadows, curse to elements and stuff. And then you have UA, which is not in the game. I think it'll be a rune later, I hope at least. So you have all these other things getting buffed by Haunt, whereas now you're only getting your corruption buff. So I don't think in PvE it's not going to have that good of a place. Granted, if you're affliction or if you're kind of like the support lock, which is a support lock role, you could take it and buff your damage up a little bit. There is a change from Lich King where this is instant cast, which is really nice. I actually didn't know that until yesterday. I didn't notice that, but I think this is just going to be like, it's going to be really good in AoE. I think it'll be good in PvP as well, because that PvP you can put up agony, you're putting up stuff, and it heals you. So it's going to be really nice, right? But in terms of just straight PvE content in a raid, I don't think there's too much spots for that.
I find it, the only thing I find insane about Haunt is the instant cast. The fact that it's instant cast. That is insane. You know, the fact that you can
able to move and Haunt is big.
Yeah, but because you can essentially move and heal. You know, like when if you've got Haunt on, you move and refresh it on someone when you're running away and you're healing. Like, that was the bit that took me by surprise. Actually, was the fact that it was instant cast. The rest of it, it's like, it's kind of like what we expect.
Thing,
yeah.
Like when I saw it listed at BlizzCon, I was like, okay, that doesn't have that good of a place. Same with Everlasting Affliction, unless something changes with corruption or, like I said, a UA or some kind of dot. It's not really going to help that much at all.
I think
PvE content outside of leveling.
I think one of the things that I know like people complain about me in comments all the time on these podcasts because they're like, oh, why don't you just play retail if you want retail? But it's like, this is fucking nearly retail now. Literally,
we are blending into retail now.
Like there's no two ways about it. It's a nice mix between the nostalgia of vanilla and retail abilities. So I kind of feel like it would be good for priests, warlocks, if they actually started getting some good scaling from dots. You know, in terms of like haste benefiting, you know, having a haste added to more gear, and you know that's the only thing where it's like it's great that they're getting all these abilities, but when all of them scale like absolute shit, how they do in vanilla. And again, that was something that Willie brought up, which I literally hadn't even thought about.
Yeah, they don't do dots. Just really don't do that much damage in this game. They don't. Even if you're like demonic sacrificing or succubus, you can't go too far down to get. It's like you just. It's not insane scaling that you have with it. So hopefully they change something with it. Other than that, Haunt's just going to be good for PvP, I think. Leveling.
I mean, what would you think about even if they allowed dots to be able to crit each tick? You know, rather than scaling it, you know, rather than hasted.
Oh yeah, corruption. If corruption could crit, then that would be a little bit better. Yeah, that's nice. That would be really nice if it could. But
I feel like that's
let that happen.
Yeah, for me that would be like an easy, not too intrusive way of changing dots. You know, to just buff them by. I mean, look at his little face. It lit up when he was thinking about Moonfire critting.
Well, I'm just thinking of warlocks in PvP, and I don't know if it's the same in Classic, but their dots fucking slap me and rot me down in PvP right now in Wrath. So like you guys are talking about buffing dots, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, not warlock dots.
In Wrath, we have so many more talents that buff our dot damage. Not only does like our main corruption talent, but we have like all these other abilities that buff it up even more and make it crit. And then there's UA and agony. Everything hits so much harder, you know. Whereas nothing, we only have one thing buffing our corruption. That's Shadow Mastery, really.
When do locks get Death Coil?
Like 48 or something.
Okay, all right. Because, yeah, like I've just been coiled into feared into like 6 dots on me,
42.
and then I'm just fucking dead.
Yeah, you gotta. We're not getting that for a couple phases. That's at 42.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's a big PvP tool for us too. So that sucks.
Yeah, that level 50 brackets when you guys are gonna start sucking.
I wonder if Death Coil was going to work in Metamorphosis. Now they've got rid of fear. I mean, you would think so because it's a terrifier rather than a fear.
Yeah.
But
I don't see why they would take that away. Because a lot of the setup is Death Coil into a fear, right? For PvP, and now you can't. You're not. There's no fear for meta.
Yeah. Oh, which like meta? Read us through this go, and me and Crix are going to go AFK for 10 minutes.
I was gonna let Crix do this one because this is a fucking paragraph and a half, and he knows all the ins and outs of it and could probably shorten it up a little bit.
Pretty much meta turns into a big ass demon, which everybody knows what a demon looks like. When you're in demon form, it's a form, so it's not like a 2-minute cooldown like or whatever it is in Lich King where you're there for 30 seconds. You're just permanently in the form. As soon as you press meta, it takes all your mana away. It's 100% mana cost, so you can't hop in and out over and over again. You transfer into a demon. The demon has 500% armor, which is melee. You take less melee damage. You have 6% less chance of getting crit, so you can't be crit to death pretty much. Increases your threat by 50%. It used to be 100%, but they nerfed it to 50. Increases the mana gain by life tap by 100%, which just means you don't need to life tap as much. And then it turns some of your abilities into other stuff. Those abilities are Searing Pain. Searing Pain is no longer a cast time. It was pretty short cast time anyway. Now it's a single target. I mean, not single target, it's instant cast, which is your threat generator. It's like 3 times threat generator on top of the 50%. Your Shadow Bolt is now gone. It turns into Shadow Cleave, which is a melee attack that hits 3 nearby enemies on a 6-second cooldown. This is ass. It's complete garbage. It does like 7 damage, but it gives you a button to press. It's just as good as Shadow Cleave is in Lich King. There's a Shadow Cleave version of Lich King that you don't even press because it's that bad. Now you have the time to press it, so you'll press it. It does like virtually nothing. Curse of Wreck. They changed it today where Curse of Wreck was your taunt, but now it's not. Curse of Wreck's just normal, and now your fear turns into an ability called Menace, which now taunts. So it's a melee range taunt, which means you can't fear when you're in meta. This is largely for PvP because you can imagine a Metamorphosis lock fearing everything while having like, let me just full quad dot you and then spam Searing Pain, and when you get close to me, fear you and continue spam Searing Pain. It's not really fair. And then Demon Charge, which is a 1-second stun that can only be used out of combat. It's a charge like a warrior charge, and then an AoE taunt on a 10-minute cooldown. And it's broken. The whole ability is broken. I shit my pants at BlizzCon when I saw this. I actually screamed louder than I think anybody could have possibly screamed in that arena. It was crazy. This is the mandatory tank. This makes you tanks. This is the mandatory rune for tanking. You'll have to have this not only because of the Searing Pain threat, but your taunt and all that. And if 500% armor is a lot of armor. It's just a ton of armor. It changes the way that you play in general. Like you're stacking, your most important stat is now stamina and then armor, right? It's huge. It's things that you're playing completely different. Blizzard put cloth gear in the game with agility, but agility the armor bonus from agility isn't multiplied by the 500%. So the agility actually won't help you that much at all. but it's still like something. It's like things that you are building that you wouldn't normally build for. And you're just going to be a tank. We talked about it earlier. You're just going to be a single tank monster. You're not going to be that good at AoE taunting or AoE threat, but you'll be able to hold a couple mobs. You're just not going to be nearly as good as like a shaman or a paladin, bear even. But yeah, until we're not going to know until it launches. But I mean, I think warriors are the best single target tanks. I hope warlock's right up there with them. A little bit less than that.
What about PvPing with it, Crix? PvPing with Metamorphosis? Any thoughts on that?
It feels unfair. It feels unfair because I can just I put an Immolate on you, I put an Agony on you, I Master Channeler, which is, I mean, I put a Drain Life with one of your runes turns into a dot, so I Immolate, Corruption, Agony, dot, and then I'm just spamming Searing Pain on you, and I don't know what can kill that. I think a mage with Counterspell, because they get Counterspell at 24, and they can lock you out of your fire spells. Where before I was like, I'm not scared of that because they want to kick your fear. Now that fear is gone, you can't fear. So you're not casting shadow. You are casting shadow, but nothing that they can lock. So you don't even have anything that you can use to bait out the kick with the shadow, really, because they're not going to fall for that, right? There's no fear. You can't shadow bolt because it's turned into cleave. So you're just quad dotting and spamming Searing Pain and hoping you kill them before they kill you. And I honestly, even with the fear change, I don't know what's going to hurt you that bad. I think mages would be a good contender. I think hunters are amazing still. I'm always scared of a good hunter. Mm-hmm. But I think they're going to be. You see demon form coming at you in the middle of Warsun Gulch or Ashenvale. Watch out! Like you're just going to have to watch out.
So it is a hot take. You said you're scared of hunters still. If what we've seen in the data mining of hunters' pets scaling with the hunter's stats, if that actually goes ahead, I'm going to be more scared of the hunter's pet than I am the hunter.
Yeah. Yeah, and also they should make if they make hunter pets scale, warlock pets need to scale as well.
Yeah,
because you still have the warlock pet out right now, and which one of the things is if you're meta, you're using a voidwalker because you don't have fell hunter, you don't have charm succubus yet. You have succubus, but you don't have charm till 26, so you're just using either your imp or your voidwalker. And with voidwalker, you have a sack shield too, so it makes you even more like tanky. You can just sack that if you want to. You can get down into the tree and get fell dom and get another sack. So like PvP is going to be just disgusting. It's just a game of can I kill you. You can't stop me putting dots on you no matter what. So once I put my dots on you, because they're all instant cast besides Immolate, can you kill me before my dots and Searing Pain just annihilate you? And it's just a race.
It's going to be interesting to see.
We don't know.
Yeah. Man, Warsun Gulch on like day 2 when you're doing the 25 bracket. Like it's going to be. We don't know what the bracket's going to look like. It could be like one. What is it in vanilla? Is it like what is it still 10 to 19 and then
it's
20 to 29?
It's going to be the same.
Yeah, so we should get the same.
I wish there was like a 25 bracket.
Yeah, me too. Like that was
like 10 to 15, 15, 20, 20, 24, and then 25 at its own bracket.
Yeah, there should be a 25 only bracket because like you have people who just want to jump in for a bit of PvP when they're 20, 21, 22. They're going to get absolutely fucking wrecked.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun sending a Chaos Bolt at them and one-shotting a level 21, hunter or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right, we've got one more ability, and you've been sat there saying nothing go. You've let the guests do all the work for you, so you tell us about this one.
I was looking into Menace. Okay, I was doing a little bit of research, and are you 100% sure this is for Warlock? And I'm just
the tooltip says bear, but
it says requires Warlock, but also requires bear form, dire bear form. So I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah, I don't think that they have the tooltips up all the way there yet.
Yeah, there's a lot of warrior abilities that say require mage. So
druids require mage too. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't read into it too much.
All right, cool. We've got the easy one. Yeah, Shadow Bolt Volley. Your Shadow Bolt now strikes up to 5 targets within a chain distance of 10 yards, but for 20% reduced damage, meaning 80% of its damage, which is a lot of damage, even if it's 5 targets. Like.
And if
you're not losing that much.
If you guys watching live, and even if you're not watching live and you're watching the VOD afterwards, if you're enjoying listening to Go, reading out the tooltips, hit like. There's a lot of you there and not many likes, It's making Go feel really. He just DM'd me and he was like, I don't think these guys like me. None of them are clicking like. It's like, I'm sure they do, mate. Like, don't take it to heart. We'll cry together after the stream. It's fine.
Can you see the dislike counter? Because it's going up as well. So I don't know if you should have said that.
The dislike counter is probably higher than the like counter, but we're not for everyone. What can I say? Go on, Crick. Sell it. Shadow Bolt Volley. I think it's fucking insane, mate. I gotta be honest.
I think it's really cool. It just shoots 5 out instead of 1 for some damage. This would be more like a support lock take. I think wouldn't really use it in PvP. I don't think unless you definitely can. If you did like affliction roll with it. What I like about it is if you have Nightfall, that'll proc it. If you're, the Nightfall off Drain Life and Corruption, you'll get 5 shot out. If you're taking ISP as a talent and it crits, they'll put ISP up on all the targets. So it could be fun. It could be nice. I don't know. I think it'll be really good AOE if you're Shadow. It's not gonna be better than the Fire AOE, but if you're doing that support role or if you're doing the Affliction role, it'll be some really good AOE.
I see it like having a really good place in 5-mans. Just 5-man dungeons. Yeah. That's where I'd probably say it's actually that's its biggest strength. Yeah. I just feel like it's not going to do as much AoE as Fire, or remotely close to as much AoE as Fire. But it's still really nice. It looks cool. What's interesting is when I did an interview with Blizzard, they said it was between Shadowbolt Volley and Seed of Corruption. And they chose Shadowbolt Volley because Seed has been in the game for a while in the future, and no one's really ever seen Shadowbolt Volley on a playable class. So that's kind of cool. I think that I'd agree with them.
Seed, but it's still nice. It's really cool that they put it in there.
Yeah, I mean, Seed would be cool, and you might even still get Seed. Like, who knows? It might come at later levels. Or did they say no, you won't get Seed because you've got this?
They didn't say you won't. They said it was between Seed and Shadowbolt Volley, and they chose Shadowbolt Volley. So I would assume not, but who knows? Maybe change your mind.
I really like it. I genuinely do. Even though, cool. It's going to be a while before I level a Warlock, but I'm looking forward to playing about with that again in 5-mans specifically.
Mm.
Go. You got any thoughts on any of these glove runes before we move on to probably chess next?
No, if I was a brand new Warlock player, like if I just decided day one I wanted to level this, I still wouldn't know which glove rune to pick. Like all the options seem pretty sick.
Yeah, meta's gonna be the one if you got it. It'll take a while to get it though.
Yeah.
If you was to guess, what level? What level? No, I'm interested now. What level?
I think 20 plus.
Oh, really? That late?
Maybe even at 25 because it's that big of a deal. Oh yeah, I'm worried about it. I'm one of the tanks, and I'm worried about not having it before BFD.
Oh,
it's more than just you doing that. You have to find it, and they already said that it's going to be a longer question. It's not going to be just a flip a rock and get it. It's going to be like a pain in the ass to get. He said so.
Oh, okay.
He said all the classes that have the big game-changing runes, the really cool runes, are going to be hard to get. That's why when we talked about it earlier, like they already said that a hand rune is going to be your level 2 rune, right? There's no way that it's meta. I would doubt it's Chaos Bolt. I would bet anything is going to be haunt. Maybe Chaos Bolt, but Chaos Bolt's a big deal, and if you're leveling with Chaos Bolt, you're one-shotting the mobs. So,
no. I would have thought 15.
And people.
If I was to guess, I could be completely wrong. I might be looking at it with a bit of a retail brain. But I would have thought by about 15, everyone with the ability to tank will have the ability to get their rune. Otherwise, you're not going to get to tank the dungeons on the way up. You're not going to get to tank the content and enjoy the content as the role that you want to play. That's the only thing. Like, that would be fucking annoying if you didn't get it till 25. Like, that would just.
I hope so. I expect it to be some long chain that's annoying. You need help doing it, and it has to do something with demons or something. I have no idea. Because some of these classes have some funky things they have to do to get their runes right. Like, one of the shaman runes, you have to take a bunch of fire damage in order to unlock it. Mages have to find a charm and a fucking scroll and combine them to unlock certain things. So it's like, we don't. I don't know what it could even cause. To get it. I hope it's fast though.
I do. More like, even though again I'm not going to be playing a Warlock like as one of my first classes, but it would be gutting to like really be looking forward to Warlock tank, and you're at the level where you can go and do Wailing Caverns, but you can't tank. That would be really annoying.
Yeah.
All right. So next, anyway, we'll have a little speculation about what level some of these things might be. We'll do chess next, but you can ignore Chaos Bolt. Go, obviously, yeah. I don't know why it's there.
Yeah. So we got Demonic Tactics to start with. Increase the melee and spell critical strike chance of you and your pet by 10%.
Yeah, this is kind of like the Burnout for mages, but 10% instead of 15%.
A little weaker, yeah.
It's nice. It's just not. There's just too many other good options here versus where the mage only had not really that many good options there, But yeah, so it's gonna be nice. There's gonna be builds that you take it.
Yeah, I think if you're the support Warlock keeping up Demonic Pact, we'll get to too soon. This is probably
exactly
a requirement, unfortunately.
Agreed.
All right, then we've got Lake of Fire. Rain of Fire also leaves a Lake of Fire on the ground that increases all fire damage you deal and your demon pet deals to affected enemies by 40% for 15 seconds. I
Crix,
kind of like the sound of that.
Crix, every time you hear this ability, you must leave a lake of something under your chair, surely. Because
yeah, I love it. This is like as soon as you rain of fire, you don't even have to finish the channel. You just got to press rain of fire once, and then it leaves something that looks like consecration on the ground. And it just, if someone's in it, they take 40% more damage. And it synergizes as well with another rune and a leg rune, which incinerate, which gives you 25% fire damage. So combine them, you get 65% fire damage on the target, which is really nice. So like it's huge for AoE because you wouldn't even rain a fire. You just click rain once to put a lake down and you're inside hellfiring. And you're just spamming hellfire, and that's where all your AoE is going to come from. This is why I said Shadow Volley, while it's good, it's not going to be as good as a fire one. This will be very, very strong for PvE. I think this is going to be untouchable in PvE AoE, maybe with the mages. I think the fire mages are going to be great for PvE still on AoE. So I think it's just those two classes dominating AoE on it. This is why I said you're not going to have a meta doing, you can, but why would you have a lesser AoE tank AoE mobs when they can just do fire and let the other tank do the AoE tanking, and you can just spam some of the best AoE damage in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. I mean, I like it. Yeah, Lake of Fire and Incinerate together. As soon as I saw them both on separate runes, I was like, as in separate rune slots, I was like, man, that's fucking mental. Like, I feel, I don't want to get you nerfed, but I feel like they should have been on the same slot.
Well, it was nerfed already. I guess it was 100% instead of 40%, and then it was nerfed.
Yeah.
Which would be wild.
Oh, yeah.
It happened fast. I didn't even know it was at 100%.
No, I didn't.
It happened quick.
Yeah, I didn't.
It happened fast.
Cool. Master Channeler. I like Master Channeler as well. I've got to be honest. Go on.
Yeah.
We love you. We love your breeding.
What is the what's the term for warlocks? It's like soul link, drain life, like DLSL or something. Was that like a thing for warlocks?
SLSL.
Yeah.
SLSL.
But you can't SLSL until TBC. You don't have enough talent points.
Because this was kind of reminded me of that for some reason. But yeah, your drain life is no longer channeled. Lasts 15 seconds with a 15-second cooldown. Costs 100% more mana and heals you for 50% more each time it deals damage.
This is it's literally turns your drain life channel into a dot, which is really nice. This is actually very, very strong. It'll be very good in PvP. It'll be very good in PvE, and it gives you some healing if you're a tank. I don't think you would take it on the tank only because you have your healers to keep you up. And whereas you have Lake of Fire, which is 40% fire, which is more threat. And obviously, Classic is a threat man's game where if you're a tank, you want survivability, but you're probably not going to need that much unless obviously we don't know how hard everything is, but you're going to want threat. But Master Channeler is nice. It is some nice healing. It puts it on the cooldown too. It'll be nice to keep it up on someone in PvP. It'll be really nice in 1v1s because you don't have to channel that. Instead of me having to channel that like you usually see people doing, where they're like putting dots up and they're channeling in a warrior's face or a rogue's face or whatever. It's just on there, and it looks cool because you still see the channel, you still see the beam, but you're able to sit there and do whatever you want in between while it's up. So it's pretty nice.
So the thing that gets me excited about this, sorry, go. I'm gonna go for a piss in a sec anyway. So you'll get all the time in the world to speak. The thing that gets me excited about this is actually for leveling more than anything else, because I look at it as like if you look at the other options that you've got, like the 10% melee and spell crit, when you're leveling, whatever. Lake of Fire, you've got to then channel an AoE just to get the benefit, like for, I don't know, the 5 seconds it's going to take you to kill a mob. At least Master Channeler, you just pop it as soon as you engage a mob, you put you drain life, so Master Channeler activates, and then you just pump away and you're just constantly healing. That's really where I see a big strength.
For leveling, I really like it.
Yeah.
And Lake of Fire also, they can't move out of the lake too. If anything moves it out of the lake, you're losing that entire thing,
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would be great to get this nice and early. 10, 15. Like if you could get this early, it's a sick rune for leveling.
Especially because the leveling build is usually drain tanking as it is, so you are draining the whole time. So you'll be able to wand in between, which is nice.
Yeah, shit. Yeah, of course. Sorry, go. What was you going to say? I am going to go for a piss and grab some more ice.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out the mana cost of it. So you can get rank 1 at 14, and it's 55 mana. So that should make it up to 110 mana when you use it, because it's increasing it by 100%. And then rank 2 you get at level 22, and it's 170 mana, so 340 mana for using it. Like that's pretty expensive.
Thank you for the super chat before I go as well, Juggernaut. Thank you.
It won't be. I don't think it'd be that bad on it because you have like It could be. Yeah, you have like 1200 mana, 1300 mana at 25. So while leveling, yeah, it could be bad. But I don't think you put it up all the time. It's one of those things where, unless the world's buffed significantly, which we don't know. Like as of right now, if it's like this, you don't even need the drain life every time. You only do it when you need health, right? Because you still have your pet tanking for your or DPSing as well.
Yeah, and then the last one is Soul Siphon. Increases the amount drained by your drain life and drain soul spells by an additional 6% for each of your Warlock shadow effects afflicting the target, up to a maximum of 18% additional effects, or 3 dots.
Yeah, this is garbage. This is really good in Lich King because it's only good in Lich King because the Drain Soul in Lich King is an execute phase where it does 4 times the amount of damage. That's not in this game. So this makes me think that they didn't know why they put it in the game, or they're going to do something in the future where, one, we don't even have the 3 shadow effects we can put up because we're not agonying. All we have is corruption. If we get UA later, that'll add 6% more. So that's why I kind of am thinking a UA will come, but also they would need to change Drain Soul to work like it is in Lich King.
I'm trying to look up life tap because I was having the same question. I don't know. Ankrel was asking, like, how much do you get from life tap at that level?
Not much. You get 75 at level 16. The next one's level 26, so we're kind of in a shitty spot with life tap. You usually will take improved life tap, which is 20% more on your life tap, but even that's not that big of a deal.
This is why I love Crix, because he says the same like things that I get people like, oh, don't sleep on Soul Siphon, saying like, oh, it's going to be amazing, like you're sleeping on Soul Siphon.
Literal garbage.
And I'm like, I don't even know why it's in the game. I'm getting shit from people in comments for saying it's a shit rune and you're not ever going to use it. And people are like, oh, bro, yeah, well, it's fucking amazing in Wrath. It's like, yeah, but this ain't Wrath. Like, that we're not playing Wrath.
You can get value out of it, kind of in PvP, I guess, if you were to keep a Corruption and Agony on them. That's 12% of it, and then I still would like Master Channeler from PvPing, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't quite get it, and I agree. I was listening, obviously, while I was gone, and I agree 100%. I don't even think Blizzard are sure why they put this in the game yet, unless they are.
I think that they are going to put UA in, bro. I'm sticking to the death of this because that would add to that, unless they're changing Drain Soul so it's an execute again, which would be interesting, which I could see that happening. I don't know how they would do that in a rune, but I could definitely see that happening. That'd be pretty cool. Yeah,
could get it as a utility rune. This is, again, I've said this on so many different podcasts now that I just hope that they're not just going to continuously throw new abilities at us wherever, like level 40, it's like, here's another 3 abilities. Ones. Yeah, we want ones that improve the shit we've already got. That's sort of where I feel.
Some passive ones.
Taco Joe, thank you for the super chat as well, my man. And yeah, deciding between Warlock or Warlock makes a decision easy when you got Crix here. I don't think.
I like being a Warlock, and I always shield them out, even in Classic when they're ass. And now it's nice to be like, when I say they're good, no one's thinking I'm coping. They're just, everyone knows it's good,
Absolutely. Okay, so we're done with chest. So legs.
4 more to go.
Demonic Grace. These are interesting as well, by the way. And,
I mean, Demonic Pact is there, so
they're all like, yeah, I like them all actually. Like I wouldn't even know what to use, so I'm hoping Crix is gonna tell me.
Oh, I got you.
All right, Demonic Grace Surge with Fell Energy, increasing your pets and your own dodge chance by 30%, and your chance to critically strike with all attacks by 30%. Wait.
Yeah, that's right.
Increasing, your chance to critically strike by 30%?
30% crit, 30% dodge, 6 seconds, 20-second cooldown.
Okay, whew. I didn't get to the 6-second part. Okay. I was like, wait, what the fuck? 30% crit? What? All right, 6 seconds. That's fine.
Yeah, Demonic Grace is nice. It's going to be a cooldown that you use. You still would take it. Contrary to what everybody thinks, that you'd have to take this as a tank, you wouldn't take it as a tank. You'd still take Incinerate because it's giving you dodge, right? You have a higher chance to dodge, but you just eat that and just get healed up because Incinerate's going to give the one you're talking about next is too much threat. So while it's nice, it's one of those things where you're going to go between as a tank. You'd go between Incinerate and Demonic Grace, depending on if you want more threat or more survivability. Whereas we don't know yet because we don't know how difficult anything is. But as of right now, you're definitely, it's Classic. That's a threat man's game. Like you're definitely going to want threat on it. But it will be nice when you you'll know when you need it. If you take Incinerate and all of a sudden you get Giga clapped out and you guys wipe, you're like, okay, let me just go ahead and switch this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, yeah, the dodge is nice on the pole. You know, that's more where I would like the look of it. On the pole, you're getting more crit, which is more threat, and you're getting the dodge. You know, and yeah, it's only a 20-second cooldown. It is quite short, but it's not what I would use. But then I've always played a very offensive tank anyway. You know, I'm the paladin running berserking on my weapon, and yeah, strength gems. It's like, if you can't keep me up, don't fucking make your problems my problem.
And it's also only for 6 seconds with the global cooldown. So like it's not off the GCD. So that 6 seconds, you have limited defensive and offensive cooldowns as it is. So the biggest bad thing about that is that you casting that is stopping you from doing an Incinerate and a Shadow Bolt, which is so much threat already as it is. So it's not looking that. It's not as good as everyone thinks it is. It's just if you need super dodge.
Cool.
Borderline bait ruin. Bait ruin in my opinion.
I agree. I agree 100%. Like, yeah, even in the Warlock video I done, I was like, yeah, you take it if you needed it, but you're probably not going to need it. Like, you know. Go on, go.
All right, we got Demonic Pact, my favorite ability. But wait, this is only party-wide, isn't it? Let me get there. Your pet's critical strikes apply the Demonic Pact effect to your party members for 45 seconds. Demonic Pact increases spell damage and healing by 10% of your spell damage, or your level divided by 2, so 25 divided by 2, 12.5, yeah? Rounded up, 13, maybe? Whichever is higher. So you need 125 or more spell power for it to be equal.
Which is hard to get to.
Yeah, at level 25.
For example, in full 100% Shadow Wrath gear or 100% Fire Wrath gear, I have 120 spell power at level 25. Yeah. That's outside of anything you can get in the raid, though. Just saying that. You never know.
Yeah.
And then does not work on subjugated demons.
Which is enslaved, yeah. They change enslaved demon to subjugate demon. So yeah, this is nice. I think this will be get some value out of it. Yeah, I think you would still use this sometimes. Just it's like not if you're tanking. A support lock would take this, and you just give 13% or 13 spell power to anybody who has it. Pet wise, it's looking like you use Succubus because she does more damage and crits more. Your Voidwalker's ass, and you don't have Fell Hunter, so it's between Succubus and your Imp. Your Imp will get one shot. One thing that needs to be known is your pets have no avoidance unless they add it, like I think they're talking about doing, but until then, we don't know. Your pet dies, you're screwed. You have a 10-second cast to get another pet out. So here you are pumping and doing damage, and all of a sudden your Imp dies, or your Succubus dies, or whatever you're using, it dies, and all of a sudden you gotta be like, all right, guys, I'm gonna stop casting for 10 seconds so I can get another pet out. So it kind of feels like butt to me. But it's something really good, and if you're a support lock, you have a good spot for that in there.
And I suppose that's the biggest danger if you're a tank using it, actually, is if your pet dies, you know.
Yeah, I can't see a world where you use that as a tank ever. Especially because if you're tanking, you want Voidwalker out for that emergency sack. Especially down when you get further into the tree, the next phases. As a Warlock tank, you're going to want Soul Link, right? You're going to want, Master Demonologist, which gives you 10% more damage reduction. So you're going to want these other things that let you have that safetiness out of it.
Yeah, Warlocks, like tanks, I was looking at this earlier, in each bracket, they just get more and more mental as you go along. Like, if they're strong at 25, don't even start thinking about 40. Yeah, it's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. It's going to be better and better. I think that casters never scale as good as melee, right? Obviously. So I think that threat's going to be really good, but I am worried about, unless something changes, like when you get into the 50s and 60s, how's threat going to be? So yeah, you get more damage, but not as much as a warrior and how much threat they're doing. So, but obviously we don't know. We have to wait to find out about that, but yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to cover this super chat? Thanks, Zach. Thanks for the super chat. Go. You're the master of reading, mate.
Oh my gosh.
I just leave it to you.
Mouth is getting dry. How excited are you guys about the new PvP meta aspect that will change, in my opinion, faster due to the level brackets? Yeah, I think each bracket, there's going to be one or two classes that are just busted out of their minds and just like dominating the battlegrounds, and then there's going to be a couple other ones that are just getting absolutely shit on and
balance druids.
Yeah, you're gonna be like, never see a balance druid in Warsong. Why is that?
I don't see a balance druid in Azeroth. What are you talking about? What are your thoughts?
Everlasting Affliction is going to be. It's interesting. This is one of those things.
Wait. No, what's your thoughts on the PvP meta first? You know,
Yeah,
like,
for what?
you know, as in it's shifting. So how excited are you guys about the new PvP meta aspect? Like the fact that from 25, you know, Warlock could be broken as shit, but then 40, all of a sudden Rogue comes online and now they're absolutely like just one-shotting people. Like, do you like the fact that it's going to shift and it's very unpredictable?
Yeah, I like that it's going to. I think Warlocks will always be amazing though, because I mean, unless they continue changing meta, I don't think they got to. I still think even with the fear change, they're gonna have to do something about meta again. I don't know what, or Chaos Bolt or something, because it's gonna be pretty broken. But yeah, I'm excited that it changes for sure. I don't ever like one class being amazing the whole entire time.
So what they've done with the whole, like, and my answer to that question is like, what I love about Season of Discovery is the fact that we don't know, and that every phase, you know, I could on a mage, but a mage might feel like absolute shit at 25, but I'm not going to be like, I'm gonna go Warlock because they're broken. It's like, because you know I'll go Warlock, and then at level 40 mage will be broken, and I'll be like, fuck's sake, why didn't I stay mage? You know, I like the fact that we're going to be, no matter what Blizzard said, like, and say in upcoming interviews or anything like that, not that I know there's any of those going on, but if there was, you need to understand that there's going to be hot fixes fucking constantly, like from day one.
Has to be.
Yeah, it's going to be being balanced constant. It's going to be like playing retail. It's not like classic where they can just put a phase out and pretty much just leave it for 3-4 months, and they might do one or two little things in between phases. This is going to be like every week, every day, maybe even for the first couple of weeks. You're going to be logging on, and they're fucked with your class in one way or another. And I love that. It's going to be awesome.
The next bracket's going to be even better because it's level 40 and everybody goes live with 40. That's when Soul comes. That's when Ice Block comes. That's when Prep. You get all these, I don't know all the classes, but all these classes get everything that makes them so much better.
Yeah, 100%. So thank you again, Zach. Thanks for the super chat. Hopefully that gave you a good answer. And now, continue, go.
Yeah.
Apologies.
No, Andrew, we covered the whole Decay stuff at the start of the show that WoW had posted. And Lee, yeah, Scott does know that he's rostered for tonight. That's why he's drinking gin now.
I don't, what? Yeah.
Well, yeah, Everlasting
I'm getting
Affliction.
soul shards right now as we're talking.
Yeah, everyone's prepping for raid. Drain Life, Drain Soul, Shadow Bolt, Shadow Cleave, Searing Pain, Incinerate, and Haunt refresh the duration of your corruption on the target back to its maximum duration. Yeah, that's a lot of spells.
It's a lot of power.
Yeah,
I think that this talent, it doesn't, just like Haunt, doesn't really have that big of a place here. That's a big deal because you don't want your the whole snapshotting corruption and being able to snap it into bigger buffs and keep it on your target. And Lich King is a big deal. It's not that big of a deal in Classic, right? And corruption doesn't do that big of a damage. All this is doing is saving you a global from pressing an instant cast button. It's not a big deal. I hear people talking about tanking with this, which is wild. You would never take this as a tank. In no world would you take this over Grace or Incinerate. Or, I mean, I don't know about Demonic Pact over it, but you would never, in my opinion, not take Incinerate unless you really want to dodge from Grace. There's no way you take EA with this.
I mean,
I just don't feel like it has a really good place here. I mean, even if you were Affliction, I would still take Demonic Pact.
If
just
corruption,
give everybody
like just let's pretend like they have done something with dots and corruption does decent damage. Like the only thing for a tank that I like about this would be multi target tanking. You know, if you was to corruption free targets and then your shadow cleaving to keep those dots up. Like, I mean, if obviously corruption's doing fuck all threat and it doesn't matter, then you know it's irrelevant. But
yeah, it does decent threat, not like that. Nothing's gonna outpace that Incinerate up there though. The Incinerate 25% over your lake is just huge. Yeah. Whereas, you get the refresher corruption, but you can just you can spin that global and then go back into Searing Pain if you needed to on a boss.
Yeah, fair.
And the last rune, the best rune, Incinerate. Burn your enemy for a fuck ton of damage dealing and increase all fire damage you deal by 25% for the next 15 seconds.
Yeah, this is the bread and butter of the Warlock now, I think. Fire Dasher Warlock's going to use this all the time as not only as their filler, but it gives them 25% damage. It also is a little bit different than Lich King, where it does more damage if Immolate's on the target, but that's not listed there, so it doesn't do that, which is like whatever, because you're going to have Immolate anyway. Tanking wise, you're open with this and keep the debuff up there. PvP wise, if you're fire, you're going to do it all the time. This is just a beautiful rune. I'm so glad it's in there. This is a real fucking nice rune.
I bet it gets affected by a talent to reduce the cast time, but 2.25 seconds. Can you make that shorter?
I don't think that talent's in the game for Incinerate unless they change it, because Incinerate wasn't in the game. Bane should do that, but it's not in there. Eventually you get stronger because you get more fire damage talents, but you don't. Nothing with that right now. Right now it's just Shadow Bolt and Immolate unless they change it.
And it would ordinarily say, you know, going by the other runes, it'd be like talents and effects that benefit Shadow Bolt will also benefit Incinerate or whatever. So
yeah, anyway, which it could is down the road at some point, but it's not now, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I love the look of Incinerate for everything, for fire DPS, tanking. Like I think it's a fucking amazing rune. And yeah, Incinerate together with Lake of Fire is just ridiculous. And this is my biggest complaint about Warlock. Well, not complaint. I think it's great. I want him to be as overpowered as possible, so Crix really enjoys himself. But the fact that you only need one rune to be a tank.
Yeah, that's big. Like
It's
all the other
huge.
tanks need a couple of them. You know, not the main tanks, but like the, you know, Shaman Rogue, they need a couple of them. You know what I mean? Doesn't Rogue need like all of them?
Rogue arguably needs all three, and Shaman definitely needs two. I mean, to a certain extent, even Paladin needs two. But really, you know, Paladin can get away with one as well. But like Metamorphosis is just it. It's like you learn Metamorphosis, boom, you are a tank. Well done. Now pick whatever other runes you want. Like, that's pretty insane.
Have you looked forward at all to level 40 or even 60 or anything?
Me? Oh yeah. I'm more excited the further we go along. 40 opens up for tanking, opens up Soul Link and Master Demonologist. Soul Link, obviously transferring your damage to your pet, and then Master Demonologist giving you 10% more damage reduction. That's like huge. Not just PvP, but tanking wise. And even on the other side of things, that's on Affliction. That's when you get Incinerate. I mean, not Incinerate, I'm sorry, Shadow Mastery. Or Destruction, you start getting Conflag. You get not just Conflag, but you get boosted, improved Immolate. You get more Immolate damage. You get Ruin finally, which Ruin's a big talent for Warlocks, for Destro Warlocks. You get Ember Storm, which buffs your fire damage even more. You get no pushback on your Hellfire, so you're able to do more AoE threat. I'm super excited for the other ones.
Yeah, the 40 bracket is going to be mental. But for every class, I think like and level 40 is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, level 25 is going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, 40 is like where a lot of these classes get those big abilities that are potentially going to synergize well with some of the runes as well. So what sort of spec will you be going for, let's say, tank? Are you just going straight Demonology?
So for tanking, no, not straight. Well, you have an option. You can go straight Demonology where you want Demonic Embrace, and then you would take your 3 into Improve Voidwalker for the bigger sack shield on him, and you'd use it whenever for 30%, and then 2 into improved Hellstone just to drop it down. And then you can go into your Feldom, and then you can go into 4 into Fel Stamina just to open up Master Summoner, but I don't think you do that. I think you stop it. That's just an option. I think you stop there and you put 5 into your Improved Corruption. So you have the option of you always take instant Corruption, and then you get a Feldom if you ever need another pet. I personally don't think that you would actually need that pet that bad, and I would even go so far as to put some points into Suppression. So I would drop. I wouldn't use Feldom, and maybe not even like the 2 into Improved Hellstone. So I just go 5 into Master Demonologist, 3 into Improved Voidwalker for some more sack, and then I'd put the rest into Suppression. Because Suppression is your taunt too. So your taunt's an affliction spell. Or if you're using Master Channeler, that's an affliction spell. So you don't want to miss that. Imagine you taunt, but you missed. And 3 points into Suppression gives you 6% hit, right? Which at least hit caps you on anything that's within 2 levels of you.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, I think, mandatory for that. But you have an option. You can go safer and go down to Feldom and go down to wherever if you want to. But this is what I'm personally going to go.
So let's say,
and you can do more than that. Like you don't have to put the 3 points into Improved Voidwalker, and you can put them into your Improved Life Tap or your Improved Drain Life, whatever you want. It's kind of optional there if you're running Mastered. But I like the safety of 15% stamina from Demonic Embrace, having a bigger sack shield, which you would use if you find yourself not using it and you know ahead of time, then you don't need the talent. But to be safe, that's what I would do. You want your Corruption instant because you do not want to be hard casting a 2-second cast of Corruption while you're tanking. Because whenever you're casting, it leaves you open. You can't dodge, parry. You can't do nothing if you're casting. So you want to be not casting as much as you possibly can, which is you should only be pretty much casting your Immolate or your Incinerate.
So if you was assuming we've only got one spec at 25, which is highly likely, would you could you DPS in this spec? Would you be able to just would you go Shadow DPS or would you still go Fire or what would
I
you
would go if I'm pure DPS.
If you're a tank, but you're for this particular dungeon you don't need to tank, so you're going to DPS. Like, do you need to literally respec, or can you just get rid of the Metamorphosis rune?
You could get rid of Metamorphosis Room, and the thing about if you're not going to do as much damage as being able to, because if you're Destro, you're getting Bane, which is giving you shorter cast time. You wouldn't lose that much damage over it, no. But you could put the points somewhere else. But I think if you tank this, you'd be fine. If you know you're not tanking, you can respec, because they said they're lowering the respec cost, right? So it wouldn't be that bad. But that first 5 points in Demonic Embrace is 15% stamina, so it's not the end of the world. That's still making you tank here, which isn't that bad, especially because your AoE, not at level 25, because you don't have Hellfire, is going to end up being Hellfire. So, but yeah, you pretty much, you can take those points and put them elsewhere if you knew ahead of time. But there's nothing really you could put those points that much further anyway. It's 3 points. I mean, you're not drain lifing. You can put them in a life tap, I guess, to get some more mana when you life tap. Sorry, you don't need it as tanking that much because meta already gets 100% more mana when they life tap. So I don't really care for it as tanking.
Okay, so but would you like potentially, if you knew you was going to be DPSing, you'd basically just respec destruction?
Yeah, every time. If I know that I'm not, unless it's like one of those things where you're tanking this fight, not tanking this fight, tanking the next one, but not this one, then I would just do the tank build and just be doing all right DPS and switch your runes. Because at the end of the day, those 3 talent points that you just took out of improved Voidwalker, you are not going to put that anywhere where it's going to game change you at all in the slightest. So it won't matter. Even if you took the whole full 8 out of Demonology, you're not really opening yourself up for much more damage because the runes are what's going to give you the damage. And that's when I would just switch. Even with this, I would just switch straight to my fire runes and just have an instant corruption up.
Okay. And what if you had no intentions on tanking? I assume
for Destro, or like Fire Destro, I would go 5 points into Cataclysm, which is an ass talent, but you're never going to cast a Shadow Bolt, so a little bit of mana is better than no mana. 5 points into Bane, because this reduces your Shadow Bolt and your Immolate cast time, and then I'm putting 5 into Devastation and then 1 into Shadow Burn. You have an option to put to not do that, like not take shot or Devastation and put them into Corruption. That's some people will be doing that. I'm not going to. I just want straight fire damage. Although Corruption would be, I think Corruption would be more damage than like the instant Corruption. And the option is you have instant Corruption and you keep Corruption full time, or you do not take instant Corruption. You put 5 into Devastation and you never put Corruption up, but Corruption will be more damage. So realistically, I'd put 5 in the Kata, 5 in the Bane, 1 in the Shadow Burn, 5 into Proof Corruption. And then keep Corruption up, Immolate up, spam Incinerates, and Chaos Bolt, and your whole toolkit. You also have another thing that I think I would like to do, which I think is even more damage than Corruption, is the same thing. So 5 Kata, 5 Bane, 1 Shadow Burn, and then you can put 3 into Improved Imp from Demo Tree, and then 2 into Improved Firebolt. And Machine Gun, it's called Machine Gun Imp, and you just have Immolate up and park your Imp in a safe spot. And even when you know he's not going to die, if it's not like some huge AoE that's going to kill him, and let him spam his firebolts, and you're just spamming Immolate, Incinerate, Chaos Bolt.
Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
But there's one thing that like what's going to be kind of hard, which is like if you're Fire Dusher or tanking, MC and BWO have a lot of fire resist stuff, and this is something that I hope they change, but a lot of stuff is immune, so that's going to be kind of an issue to where you just probably wouldn't be able to play fire. It'd be hard for you to tank because Searing Pain is your threat, so you'd probably have to sit there and have to go Shadow with that, you know?
Yeah, and if you went Shadow, talents look massively different for that.
If I went Shadow, I'd put you need Improved Shadow Bolt and then Bane. So you can improve Shadow Bolt, Bane, and then improved Corruption, and you have 1 extra point, and I'd put it in a Shadow Burn. So I'd go improve Shadow Bolt for the ISB debuff, also to drop down to get it or Bane, which is lower Shadow Bolt cast time and Immolate, and then Shadow Burn for the finisher, and then I'd put 5 in improved Corruption. You can put some into Suppression, but I feel like it doesn't matter that much because Suppression is only Affliction spells, and you're spamming Shadow Bolts. You're just putting up a Corruption and your Curse. So yeah, you might miss your Corruption or your Curse, you press it again, but you could drop down and not get Shadow Burn and not do anything in that tree, but I personally would just run something literally just like that. Put up Corruption, put up Immolate, and spam, because you get a fresh rank of Immolate at that level, and then you spam Shadow Bolts.
And what would your runes look like for that then? For
Shadow, I would go Chest, I'm going to go Demonic Tactics. Haunt, and then probably Demonic Pact. I really don't like Everlasting Affliction. You can also, Master Channel's not gonna be worth it in AoE. You could take Demonic Tactics, and that's what I like in Chest. Haunt is just gonna be worth it because you're not gonna meta. You don't want to meta if you're Affliction. You're not gonna Chaos Bolt if you're Affliction. You're just gonna Haunt and buff up your Corruption, and maybe you can get lucky and get the Agony and not be a curse spot. But in a 10-man, you're probably gonna put a curse up. And Demonic Pact to buff everybody up. You could Everlasting Affliction if you really wanted, but I'd rather take Demonic Pact and give everybody in my party 13 spell power.
So you're saying like at 25, the Shadow DPS Warlock could almost be considered a bit of like a support Warlock?
Yeah, support Warlock, yeah. I don't think it's going to be nearly as good as a Fire. Where Fire obviously is going to take Incinerate like a Fire and then, Chaos Bolt and just be absolutely blasting. Keep Chaos Ball on cooldown, keep Immolate on target, and keep spamming Incinerate in the meantime. And put a Lake under the target, obviously.
Cool. So what do you think?
And then yell at your tank so he doesn't move it out of the puddle.
yeah, which I would be doing a lot. But overall, I mean, Warlock and Mage both, I think they both look really fucking exciting, to be honest with you.
My most exciting ones, I am for them. I'm so excited for both of them. It's going to be so much fun. Even the leveling from level 1 to seeing what your level 2 rune is to, oh my god, I found another rune at 7, 12, 14, 20, 21, 25, whatever. The PvP, the gearing, the dungeons, the raid, it's going to be a ton of fun. The AoE, the single target, Warsun Gulch, Ashen Veil is going to be fun. It's all going to be a blast, in my opinion.
So I'd already looked a lot at Mage because it is going to be my main, and obviously you've looked at both extensively. So Go, as someone who hasn't, like you haven't looked into either of them that extensively, which one would you say looks the strongest out of the two? Or does it purely depend on what role you want to fill,
I hate the Warlock dots as like PvP wise. Like I hate Warlock dots. So I always lean towards Mage, man. Mage just looks good. Mage looks fun. But I'm sure Warlock's fun too, but the whole
life
tap
scared
stuff
to see in Battlegrounds.
Oh, a Mage, I'm fine with a Mage. But a Warlock, dude, I'm running. I'm travel form. If I have that at whatever level, I'm travel form. I'm gone.
Go just leaves the battleground. He sees He sees Cricks coming, and he's like, "Fuck this! I'll go and do some grinding."
He immediately goes to cat form and stealth. He's like, "Nope, I'm not dealing with it."
Yeah, that's the one time I would want to be Alliance as a druid, and I can just shadow meld and hope that they don't find me.
I'm still like, I think Warlock looks fantastic, and 100% I will level one. I've already said I'm going to level all of them, like all 9 classes, depending on how long phase 1 lasts. But I've got to be honest, like I'm still just super fucking hyped for Mage. It's going to be so much fun.
Yo, Crix, let me ask you a question about some tier sets really quick.
Hit
so, the tier 1 Warlock, you got 3-piece health or mana gain from drain life and drain mana increased by 15%. Your 5-piece, your pet gains 15 stamina and 100 spell resistance against all schools of magic. Your 8-piece mana cost of shadow spells reduced by 15%. Is that beneficial to tanking at all?
Or ass. The tier is still ass. I hope they change it really bad.
Yeah, so if you could change the 3, 5, and 8 tier set for like a brand new tier set for Warlock tanking, like what bonuses would you want to see on that tier set?
I feel like if it's the fire, something threat wise would be nice in terms of the fire, because we changed from Warlock is known as Shadow in Classic, and it changed from Classic to being fire. So it'd be nice if they included the fire into that. The pet damage doesn't matter at all, really, and then maybe put some more armor on the tier sets, because I know there's a lot of stamina on the tier sets. There's some hit on there too, which is really nice. But I think that they put some armor on there. Agi, I guess Agi's not that big of a deal. It's better than nothing. So if they have some pieces where like a chest piece would have 20 armor, but the tank version has 130 armor. If they did that, because armor is like stamina's our main, and then you want armor after that. So it'd be kind of nice.
It'd be cool if he was getting bonus armor on the tier as a Warlock. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I do hope they change. I do hope they change something with it a little bit.
And I haven't looked at the Mage tier set, but like same thing. What would you want as a Mage healer as your set bonuses?
Probably, I don't really know what the set bonus is for mages. Probably something that has to do with arcane damage, though. If specifically for healing, since they heal off of arcane damage, you're gonna need stuff for that. Because those new tank rolls, Rogue, Shaman, and Warlock, and then the healing roll for the Mage, I think they would have to change tier a little bit to be able to account for their changes.
I'll tell you what, like the 8 set, so you got to use all 8 pieces. What would be absolutely insane is when you deal damage, with arcane spells and heal someone in that way, it's got a chance of resetting the cooldown on fucking time, the hand rune time.
Oh yeah.
Rewind time. Yeah,
I think if they did some like mana stuff for mages would be nice. Some kind of regen, or not MP5, but something that was like, I have no idea what it even could be. But the only thing I'm worried about is the mate is kind of the mage mana, but also everything's fire resistant there, fire immune there. So that's another thing that's gonna have to change. Not that bad for mages because they can go arcane, where warlocks are stuck going back to shadow, which I don't think unless things change. Obviously, we don't know what's going to change from the 40, 50, 60 bracket with shadow runes and stuff. Like if they gave us UA, they gave us some stuff that made us shadow damage do more. Because as of right now, it's still looking not to do that much more damage. Like, yeah, they gave us runes to help our dots out, but our dot is corruption and it does not do much damage. Or make it so we can use Agony and like, I don't know how they would do that. Like, you know, Kata has Bane, Bane of Agony, Bane of Doom versus curses. So you can have one Bane and one curse up, something like that. Like if they made Agony turn into Bane. And so then you can keep your Curse of Wreck up or Curse of Elements or Curse of Shadows, but also be able to Bane of Agony or Bane of Doom. That'd be dope.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
That'd be super dope. I'm excited, man. I'm super pumped.
I am. That was quick fire in 2 classes though. This is going to be the shortest podcast we've ever done, which is good though because all of us have got raids to go and do anyway. So yeah. we can round it off. Crix, obviously, thanks. Second time. Like there's going to be a third because we've got to do a post podcast, post launch podcast.
Do one of these every time there's a new phase. Talk about the new stuff.
Definitely, it'll be absolutely amazing. So thank you for coming on. Do you want to just shout out where where people can find you?
Well, yeah, Kirk's Vibes everywhere. Kirk's Guides on YouTube, Kirk's Vibes on Twitch, Kick. Starting tomorrow or Thursday, I'll be multi-streaming to Kick, YouTube, and Twitch at the same time. It's going to be hectic. But you'll find me there. I'm playing a Warlock first, tanking, main tank, and then DPS, and then Mage. And just probably going to go down the line. I'm not going to play a Pally. I hate Pallies. But other than that, have some fun playing.
I heard you might do a Balance Druid.
I thought Balance looked fun. It looked good to me. I like it. I'm excited for that. I've always secretly liked Boomy.
Are you? Sorry, go.
You said that for Wrath too, and I don't even think your Boomy's level 80, is it? It's like
79 and a half.
Oh my god.
Don't worry, I'll still beat your person somehow one day. You know what I
mean?
Okay. Are you? It's funny because it looks like we're all actually going to start streaming everywhere for launch because I'm doing exactly the same as you.
Might as well.
Are you going to be using Epidemic Sounds?
I was just thinking about that. What do I do for music? Because I usually listen to music and I can't. Do you use Epidemic Sounds?
I've literally I've been subbed to Epidemic Sounds for ages, but I cancelled it like 2 months ago, and I've just resubbed today. And actually, the music on there, it's all right. Yeah, the music's not bad at all.
It's more like having to make the playlist or something. Like a lot of the times when I stream to Kick, I'll put. Well, Kick doesn't care, but YouTube, I'll like put on soundtracks or like something. But yeah, something's got to happen. Some kind of.
It's the only downside. I really do want to stream on YouTube all the time, but it is the fact that you have to sit there and listen to shit. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just like me. We listen to a lot of other music, so it's like that's like part of our stream is that fact that people know they can come in there and we're vibing out the music versus like hearing the game sounds all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, again, Crix, thank you for coming on. Obviously, you're just part of the furniture.
I always use this time to promote the next show. So tomorrow we've got Sarth. I think, right? Covering Rogue Hunter. Yeah, the last 2 classes.
That'd be a good one.
Then we're good. We're ready for Sod.
And then I'm not doing another podcast for at least a week. Man, we've done...
Yeah, I can't stand looking at you.
Mate, I know how you feel. Trust me.
You got a game.
Yeah.
Time to game.
We've done like 5 podcasts in 7 days. It's going to work out to be, so...
Yeah.
Yep.
48 hours from now, we are all inside of seasons leveling. We already have our level 2 rune by now, just like figuring out what it is and having fun.
It's going to be great. I fucking can't wait. So again, everyone, thank you. I am just going to roll the outro from yesterday's video, yesterday's stream. So if you didn't see it, it's a really good Season of Discovery song that Mr. Sully made specifically for yesterday's podcast. So if you didn't see yesterday's podcast, just watch the outro, and we'll see you on the next one.
Peace, boys.
Thanks, Crix.
I mean, what is this thing? Circle thing from America that has music on it. Just literally can't work out what this is meant to be. I didn't even find out what it is on Google. Literally, I've had someone send me one of these shiny circle things, but I can't get it to go in anything. I wonder if Go knows what it's for.
Yo, it's Go.
What up, big dog? I don't know why I said it like that. I've had someone from America send me like a circle thing with a little circle in the middle of it. And he said that there's a song on it for us for the podcast. What do you put it in?
A little circle thingy? I don't know. I've never seen one of those.
I mean, I've tried putting it in my Mac, but, like, it don't fit in any of the holes. You know, like, what? I don't... Have you got any idea? What if I spin it really fast on my finger? Will that make it go? Oh, I think I heard something.
You want to just spin it on your finger for the whole show?
I'll have to get him to send me an MP3 version. Should we listen to it together? Well, he said it's a song for the podcast, so...
All right, bro. I'll see you in a little bit.
All right. Let's hear it.
SOD, my pallies, are you ready? 11/23/2004, Wildez put Pally straight on the floor. One boot on the neck, another on the hand. A placeholder class, they made them so bland. It's almost as if they didn't like magic. All tapped out and they couldn't imagine everything they could do. Storm strike to your face, just wait till I get a big fat mace. SOD, about to get crazy. New meta, what's it gonna be? SOD, get to play a new plan. Fresh. SOD, about to get crazy. New meta, what's it gonna be? SOD, get to play a new plan. Fresh. 11/30/2023, Wildez found the lane. Pallies be free. We got runes hiding in the most conspicuous spots. Holy rat and prop waiting to be unlocked. They're gonna heal you, deal you damage you like. Protect the group when the wheels are falling off the bike. You're fine in the storm, maybe lay on hands. Paladins are longer watching from the stands. SOD, about to get crazy. New meta, what's it gonna be? SOD, get to play a new plan. Fresh. SOD, about to get crazy. New meta, what's it gonna be? SOD, get to play a new plan. Fresh. I don't have to tell you how there was no meta, just auto attack. Just ask Riley. I don't have to tell you how there was no meta, just auto attack.